Yo, political sports in the building. What's good, everybody, man? Y'all get the likes up, man. Y'all subscribe, share the video. We got a good one for y'all today. We got a good one for y'all today. My bro in the building. We about to get it right, man. We about to get it right. I think he won't play a little song right fast, something smooth, man. But we're gonna get straight into the content, man. We're gonna get into the Nolan Wells interview with Officer Tatum. We're gonna break that down. We're gonna dissect that. We're gonna also get into what Tucker Carlson had to say about the whole situation with the black and white fatigue that's going on, where America is playing, the top dogs are playing us against each other, and it's all a part of their agenda, and it's happening. And also, he's going to speak on how we're going through real life Jim Crow laws right now as we speak, and a lot of people not paying attention to it. So we're gonna shine a light on it. We're gonna shine a light on it. We're gonna also shine a light on how you have people that's political influences that's taking their platforms to talk about things that's, they supposed to talk about things that's happening within the community, but what I mean is like by racial things that's happening, like this Nolan Wells situation. It's like as if you have the red and the blue side. You know what I mean? It's like Crips and Bloods all over again in general. The conservatives feel like, oh yeah, those white boys didn't do nothing. And then you have the liberal side that's saying, nah, we want answers because it's something not right. It didn't got that deep. It didn't got that deep. Waiting on my bro Jay. Yeah, he could run the song he wants to. Let's go, Jay. But yeah, we got a good show for y'all today, man.
Happy Sunday, everybody. We're gonna get into it.
Right. All right. That was real groovy, Jay. That was real groovy, Jay. Boogie. All right, y'all. So
Appreciate that, bro. You know we got to keep it all jazzy on this lovely, lovely Sunday, man. Once again, shout out to everybody that's in the building. We got a lot of information to break down with you. Just sit back and relax. If you got your Sunday dinner on, if you're sitting back with the lovely uh your wife, your husband, your kids, you know, if you're a political person, if you're a sports person, we got everything you need. So once
man,
again, sit back and relax and let me and my bro take you there.
let's do it. Let's do it, bro. So we're gonna open up with the Nolan Wells interview. And from the beginning, we're gonna do our little commentary on it. We're gonna do a reaction on it. I want everybody to feel free to know that um I want your opinions. I want everybody to let me know how you feel about the situation in general. Like it mean a lot for me to know, that you guys give me your opinions. It matters. All right? That matters. Comments matters, everything. It matters. And don't be a stranger to the like button. Please hit that like button. Like the video, share, subscribe. We got a good show for y'all. We about to get into it.
Relationship with Nolan.
Yeah, I will. So his mom got on TV, as everybody has seen, and said that she didn't know me. And that can't be farther from the truth. Me and Nolan, I met Nolan in ninth grade, in second block class. It was math. He was.
Yeah, we had an echo on the video. Hold on real fast, y'all. Got y'all.
He was one of the first guys I made friends with. It was somebody I made a connection to. Like off rip, he was an athlete. I could tell he was an athlete. When I walked into class, we sat really close to each other. And all he did, he turned around and asked me for a pencil when I first met him in ninth grade when I moved to Ocean Springs. Man, it was tough, and the relationship there has always been best friend in my eyes. I never wanted to take away how close somebody else was with Nolan, but Nolan was my best friend. That was a guy I knew I could call at any point in time. He called me at 11 o'clock on the 4th to see where I was parked at. Man, me and Nolan have countless nights of him giving me advice on my girlfriend, on my life in general. Nolan has been the only friend, and I love my friends and my best friend in this group of guys, but Nolan has been the only person that ever tell me, like, he's proud of what I've done. He's proud of how hard I worked. He's proud of me going overseas to go play ball. That was my guy. Like, that was my best friend.
Yeah, and so how does it make you feel when the media activists are coming out and alluding to the fact that you may have something to do with what happened to Nolan on that day?
Man, that hurts. It hurts is an understatement. I beat myself up every night I lay down. Beat myself up anytime it crosses my mind. Because in my head, if I wasn't drinking, if I didn't get into that altercation, maybe I would be able to do something. Maybe I would have saw something. Maybe I would have told Nolan, hey, man, you're not going with that girl. Just come back with us. We're going back a little bit later. We can go meet up with the guys later. Maybe it just plays out different. And then the fact that they're going to play that is I'm already trying to mourn my friend's death as is, and I'm blaming myself for it. To put that in my head is a next level of hurt that can't be truly explained.
Now I can understand, once again, my condolences to the family. But I can understand where he's coming from. But off the bat, if you guys listening and understanding, he just said that he wants to blame himself and everyone that was involved that day on the boat. I'm assuming was drinking, having a good time, partying, things like that. And a situation broke out. But just the way that he's presenting it already before we even get to the meat and potatoes. It just makes you feel like he's already trying to cover himself, cover his tracks already. It just kind of makes it seem that way. But I just want to throw that out there before we continue. Bro, you got something to say?
His body language off to me. He seemed real stiff. He got his arms folded. He not relaxed. He kind of tense.
Right.
If you everybody grieve different. But I just feel like he more nervous than telling the truth, and the blame game is about to begin because he's saying as if Kate was the one who, and then vice versa. She's saying, well, no, he left with them. She didn't stay with me. He left with them. And they saying, no, he didn't leave with us. He said he wanted to stay with Kate. So it's like, hold up. That's a gap that need to be covered. But yeah, man, his body language is completely off to me. He seemed real nervous. And it's like as if he's just trying his best to answer the questions without drawing suspicion.
Correct.
But let's go.
Because it's hard to put into words. Generally, it's backstabbing from a sense of a community that I thought I had with my skin color, and they stay so strong together. And I'm supposed to be one of them, but I come up and I speak, and now I'm the person to blame. Now I'm not dark enough for them. I'm not black enough for them, and now I'm the issue. It doesn't make sense. In my head, it doesn't make sense.
Was Nolan, I mean, obviously you were in a friend group, but the way the media makes it seem is that almost as if Nolan was the only black person in this whole friend group. Now they don't even mention you. They don't bring you up in this whole thing when it comes to, what happened at Horn Island. So what's your take on Nolan being, presented as like the only black kid in a group of all these white boys?
That's crazy, man. I know we've spoken a little bit, but that friend group that I'm a part of to this day was the first friend group I was in when I moved to Ocean Springs as a new kid coming in. I never knew any of them. I'd known one kind of, sort of, back from grade school because we went to the same private school together. But that was it. And him being the only black person, minority, any of that measure is insane. Our friend group is diverse from the max. Like, we have a mixed guy. I mean, we had Nolan in our friend group. There's an Asian a part of our friend group. There's a Latino that they're trying to perceive as white. He's truly authentic Mexican. His parents are from Mexico. They came over legally and they did everything right, and he's been here since. It blows my mind because our friend group is not a friend group that sees race. Our friend group sees what good you do for other people, what good you bring, and how the type of person you truly are and where your morals lie. That's one thing in common. Me and my friends might not agree on everything, but our morals align. Our morals know. So for them to even make that narrative up really shows you have no idea what it's like down here on the coast. You have no idea how tight-knit Ocean Springs as a community is. You don't understand it. You don't see the thousands of kids in the high school football stands cheering their team on. Nobody cares what color you are. We're there to have fun and to just live. And that's how Nolan lived. That's how I live now. I'm growing up and I have more big boy stuff, but in high school, all I cared about was going to hang out with my guys. And I mean, on a personal level that leads off of it, is like, it got me in trouble with my girlfriend just because I wanted to be with the guys. I never once thought, man, they look at me different. Man, I'm kind of an outcast to them. No. All their moms have always welcomed me with open arms. Anytime I needed anything, I knew I could call them and their parents, and they would do anything in the world for me. So with Crump pushing this narrative, it's wrong.
Yeah,
It's completely wrong, especially about our friend group.
Yeah, I find it, especially after talking to you, meeting some of the guys, that it seems like there was an agenda. But can you walk us through just your perspective from that day? I don't know if did you go with them initially? Were you a part of the group that went to Horn Island?
So I wasn't, no, clear that up. No, I was not on the boat with them. Yes, I was a part of the group that was supposed to go out. So the only reason why I did not go on the boat is I was offered, I got begged to go, but my uncle, we also took 12 people out on our boat, not including us two, so 14. And my uncle knows the passengers wouldn't have helped. Generally wouldn't have helped with anything. With that many people on a boat, you need a little bit of help. So my uncle was like, hey, can you just ride out with me and you can go do your thing throughout the day on the island? I don't care. I don't need you. I just need help to get out there and then pick everything up. Because I know all these people are going to be drunk and they're not going to want to do the extras that nobody sees about going out on the boat, right? And so I told Wyatt that, and oops, my bad. But I told him, I told him that, and I told him everything, which was go to plan. We were leaving a little bit earlier than them. I was gonna try to have a spot saved out, and Nolan calls me at 11 o'clock. I missed his phone call. Called me twice. I missed both of them. I saw Wyatt and Nolan on the boat. They pulled right in front of our boat, and they were screaming. I turned my head, and I was like, yo, there's a spot over there, where they end up anchoring out. I helped them set their stern anchor. From the time they showed up until now, going back to it, 20 minutes before they left, I was with them. That's who I was with. I spent all day with them, minus the morning time before they got out there. But from the time they got out there to the time they went back in, I was with them. Those are my friends, man. Those are my guys.
Yeah, I want to get a few more details.
I'm sorry about that.
I know that. Yeah, go ahead. I know that you were all over the news because there was a perceived fight. People, this is the thing that gets me, and I want to clarify this. When I saw the video that they put out on the internet claiming that Nolan was saying, "Give me my effing phone back," the coach came out. Nolan's coach came out and said immediately he knew it wasn't Nolan's voice, and obviously it wasn't Nolan's voice because you were the one that was
me yelling,
in there yelling. You got into an altercation with somebody. What happened after that? Like, put me in your place where the fight is over. Whatever happened. Nolan is somewhere. You're somewhere. You're hanging out. And when was the last time that you saw Nolan before you left Horn Island?
So, after the fight, I didn't stay on Horn Island much longer. So the objective. So I was really upset. So with you hear me yelling, my uncle had told me to get on the boat and wouldn't let me back off the boat. Obviously, I was really mad and I wanted to fight, wanted to get off. What wasn't smart, man. And so I was on the boat, I'm yelling, and shortly after that, I left the island. I left probably 30 to 45 minutes after I got into a fight. We started to pack up and left because I was so upset. As Javon mentions, that they were ready to get me back to land because I was really mad. I was genuinely really mad. But the last time I saw Nolan, I was walking to the boat. This was before the fight. It's me and my old lady. We had just got out of a group of people. Nolan was walking towards Wyatt's boat. I was walking in the opposite direction towards my boat. And I dabbed Nolan up. I made a slick comment about something, actually about the girl that he was with. I made a slick comment to him, us joking around, and I kept going. And not even 10 minutes after that is when
I'm glad you paused it.
Man, bro, man.
It was time. Man, you go first. I'm gonna wait. Go ahead. You go first, brother.
All I just want to say is, bro, this young man sounds very, very suspect, man. Like, from the whole incident that he's even talking about, like, you seen Noah this way, you went this way, y'all dapped up, but you made a comment about a female that he was with. You know what I'm saying? It's just listen to his stories is very suspect. Not blaming him for anything, but once again, like you checked out his body language. He hasn't unfolded his hands yet. You know, he looks you know, a little bit intimidated, so to speak. I don't know if it's the camera, the questions, but just his answers, they sound suspect, bro. They sound definitely suspect.
So you're absolutely right. And for him to say, I made a slick comment about, he said a lot right there. It was a lot of like nothing in a way, in a sense, in a way, like he just talking. But for him to say the last time he seen them, but I ain't gonna say nonsense because they had a fight, obviously. So it was some tension between something, and he said Nolan went the opposite way. So Nolan left y'all and went to kick it with the girl, but you seen them and you made a slick comment. So why would you be trying to get him to get on y'all boat and leave with y'all? And why would you make a slick comment if this your best friend that you've been knowing since the 8th grade? Is that a chick that never gave you no play, but yet Nolan got his swag together? He hung a little low more between his legs than you, and she feeling him, and you mad. You jealous. That's what it sounds like. Why would you make a slick comment to your best friend that you you know what I mean, you kept for and you kick it with so much? And you know what I mean? Like let's go, bro. Run it. Spin that shit.
When I got into a fight. I do. Last thing I told Nolan was all right, buddy. I love you. See you later.
Bro, it's an echo.
I'm glad I said it. I had been under the influence a little bit, and that's probably why I did say it at the time. Just getting all lovey-dovey, but I'm at peace. I said it. I'm glad I said it. That was my last encounter with Nolan. Just telling him I love him.
Did you have any? So you leave the island. Did you have any encounters or association with these phones, with the keys? Did you have any connection to any of that?
I did not. So what I know, Warren started. I got my first phone call from Warren at about 9:20. I didn't answer it. I was asleep. I'd been on the boat all day. I didn't feel like going to party anymore. I went to bed. So I got my first phone call about 9:20, and I didn't wake up again until a little after 11 o'clock. And that was to my brother coming in the room being like, hey, Warren's trying to get a hold of you. You need to answer the phone. They're looking for Nolan. And I'm half awake, and I pick up the phone. And by this time, nobody had came to the house to grab anything. And Warren gets on the phone, and he's just like, hey, man, he was like, hey, have you talked to Nolan? Anything else? I was like, no, I haven't talked to him, man. He was with that girl last time I knew. And he was like, okay. He was like, man, we can't get a hold of him. We don't know where he's at. I was like, man, it's Nolan. He's probably just out somewhere with that girl. Like, get a hold of the girl, you'll probably find Nolan. It's no big deal. And he was like, all right. He was like, but we're starting to freak out. We're getting on the phone with Coast Guard. I was like, okay. And at that time, he had already talked to his mom, Nolan's mom.
Why would he be freaking out?
Hurts like a dog, man.
Man, why would he be freaking out and calling the Coast Guards if he just got a call that they're looking for Nolan and he just all of a sudden woke up? It's like as if he knew already, like they wasn't going to find Nolan. Am I bugging? It kind of seemed like as if he already knew they wasn't going to find him. And I kind of feel like that, man. I'm like, damn, wait, bro. Like, how you was with him, you walk past, but then at the end of the day, you like, well, if you find that girl, you'll find him. What that's supposed to mean?
And bro, before you go on, like when he said you'll find that girl, you'll find him. Now,
right.
How would the other teenager or young man know what girl he's talking about if they wasn't together? Especially after the fight. Supposedly fight that they had on the boat.
Exactly. Now, keep this in mind also, because I was covered. We had hit big on this. Keep in mind also, You walked past Nolan and you made a slick comment to him about this chick, and then you had his phone. You texting the phone that you had, making it seem like as if you're looking for him. If you ask me, this what happened. They was jealous because Nolan had that girl. Things turned left when they was on the boat, and they did what they did to Nolan, and they left him out at sea, and they had to cover it up, and they was gonna blame the K girl because everybody who seen Nolan knew that he was really like feeling her and he was with her. And I kind of believe her by her saying that Nolan, the last time I seen Nolan, he was still with them. Because how would his phone end up on the boat? That they got his phone. Whatever happened, Nolan got back on that boat with them, and they did what they did to him. That's how it's gonna come out. I guarantee you. This guy right here is guilty. Just the way he just folded his arms like that, not moving. He not relaxed at all. Officer Tatum got his legs crossed, them ugly ass boots on. Shout out Officer Tatum though. Shout out Officer Tatum though. You know what I'm saying? He got the motherfucking cowboy slick boys on. You hear me? Yeah. High socks with the black. That boy got the black
ankle boots, huh?
You know?
Oh man, but before we continue
that
the
boy
video,
got the thick black Goodwill socks on, stupid ass.
come on, bro.
Man, with the corner shirt, long sleeve. You feel me? Real talk, man. No bullshit. I feel you though. That boy got the Walmart lamp. Yeah, I like that lamp. Walmart lamp. Stupid ass. But anyway, yeah, man. That's that Temu furniture too. The one that you bust open in the pack. That's that Temu.
I just want to.
I gotta hit him. I gotta hit Officer Tatum, man. He be doing the black community wrong, but I appreciate him for exposing this dude because by having his hat on back. So you want to seem like Nolan. You wanted that swag. You wanted that confidence. You wanted that seem like. Because if you walk straight past him the last time you seen him and said something slick to him about the girl that he was with, and all of a sudden his phone ended up on the boat with y'all, seemed like y'all was bugging him to come with y'all so y'all can address him about the chick, like, or whatever, like, and then he like, man, fuck y'all, whatever, then shit turned left and y'all killed him probably by mistake. Not intending for it to be that bad. Y'all already riled up. You just had a fight. So you addressed him and you probably slayed some slick shit. He was like, man, you tripping, whatever. And some shit went down on that boat, and then boom, Nolan gone. I believe Kate. I think she right about her. The last time I seen them, he was with y'all, cause y'all was bugging him to come with y'all. Y'all didn't want him to even be with me, cause y'all jealous, and I never gave y'all no punani. That's how I'm taking it in a way right now. Think about it, Jay.
No, bro. I'm catching what you're throwing.
Cause how his phone ended up with them. I ain't about to walk past. I can hear you. I ain't about to walk past my partner and he say some slick shit, and I ain't about to be like, man, I'm chilling with Shorty, man. Give me my phone. Make sense? If I'm gonna stay, in order for me to get in contact with anybody, I'm gonna need my phone, right?
No, absolutely, and that's the big thing right there, bro. I wanted to bring out. Nobody has not thought like. Remember he just said earlier that he was the person that was on the boat that had the altercation. He never told us who he had the altercation with. Was that altercation with Noah? Like, was he arguing with Noah?
Nah, he a police officer, and if he say certain names, people start looking into certain people. So he had said somebody's name, and he was like, "Oh, my bad." And dude was like, Officer Tatum was like, "Nah, you're fine," because Officer Tatum probably coached him into telling them, "Look, it's very pivotal for you not to say people names, because whoever name you say is damn near gonna automatically become a suspect. So do not say names. Just give me scenarios and what happened, and say I was with my other buddy or that girl, or he don't say names." And he pivotally like coached him into not saying names because the death threats and all of that are becoming a suspect, getting doxxed, everybody gonna be on your ass. He don't want him to be the reason of a blame by saying their names in an interview like this, that everybody gonna be paying attention to, that everybody gonna be doing commentary on, that everybody gonna be reacting to. He want him to not put other people in it and be going through what he's going through, because he's one of the known characters to be around Nolan, supposedly to be around Nolan, allegedly around the time that he died. But let's go. Let's get back into it.
And he was getting on the phone with the Coast Guard, and I'd called. I need to be specific about this. I did not call Warren's phone. I called another one of our buddies' phone, and it was on speakerphone. They were all together. I was talking on my other buddy's phone, talking to Warren. He was dialing Coast Guard because he hung up the phone and was like, "Hey, this is them, bye," and hung up the phone. And that was the last time I talked to him until the next morning when we all decided. Well, when I woke up about 7 o'clock that morning, we had all decided that we were going to go out on the boat and go look for Nolan. Wyatt had already had his boat still in the water. We took that boat out. It was
what day are we talking?
That's Sunday morning.
Sunday morning on the 5th. The 5th?
So it was Saturday the 4th was the 4th of July.
Mm-hmm.
The 5th was Sunday. We were on the water from 9:45 to 11:50, 12 o'clock era, about lunchtime.
Mm-hmm.
While we were on the water, we talked to a rescue guy, and he told us to get off the water and said that they kind of had the island and the water under control. That's the professionals, man.
Yeah.
They told us to get on social media and find out any information we can. And by that time, we had already talked to a good amount of people out there. So it just made sense. So we went back in and we concluded our search and started the search off socials and started sharing everything we could and try to get a hold of anybody that could have talked to Nolan, that Nolan possibly would have reached out to. And that led into the night. It led all night long. I didn't sleep at all Sunday. Monday, I was up at 5 a.m. I was putting fuel in our boat at 6. I got told that we were taking out another boat to Chandelier at 7. So I put my boat back on the lift, and I went to McDonald's, and then I got the news after I left McDonald's that his body was found. So it was already a plan that we were going and searching and trying to do everything we possibly can. And that's all I wanted to do. Is I wasn't there to help him out in his last minutes, but now I feel like as a friend and as one of my guys, man, I do everything in my power to help now. And that's why I have reached out to the family. I have donated to the family, and I have giving them just your normal death gifts, I would say, as you pay your respects. And
your normal death gifts?
Do you think
what the
Benjamin Crump
he just said? What? Your normal death gifts. How about you shed tears?
Right.
How about you feel some remorse? How about you act like, bro, your real best friend just passed? How about you seem distraught? Everybody grieve different, and I'm not judging you, but you're talking about your normal gifts for the dead. Like you, man, come on. Come on, bro. Something fishy, bro. Ain't no way you're gonna say something about somebody that you loved and you cared about like that. No way. And another thing, you didn't go to the funeral. I would have showed up early if I'm getting death threats and all that and getting accused of something that happened to one of my friends. Bro, I'm going in that funeral strapped to the T with some of my real ones that even if I got to get the police to bring me up in there, I'm going to see this body. Man, that's my partner. That was my friend. Man, I don't give a damn what, man, they ain't about to do me nothing. I'm going to see my homie, man. Now, what I won't do is I respect not going to the funeral. Or if I do go to the funeral, I don't want nobody to even know that I'm there. I'm trying to sit somewhere secluded up at the top balcony or somewhere. Or I sit in the back where I can watch it and I can listen and I'm there. Something like that in general. So I don't take the attention off of the family, knowing that they're trying to make it seem like as if they're accusing me of doing something that I really didn't do. I'm going to see that body. And if I really feel like in my heart, like, man, I didn't do this, man, I'm about to sit up in there with everybody else. View the body, listen to them saying all this and everything. Man, I'm about to sit in here. I know I'm innocent. 100%. I'm going to the funeral. Whatever tension that they feel is caused, and if they kick me out and they don't want me there, now that's different. That's cool. But I'm going to show my face and try to get up in there because that was my friend. Straight up. It'll hurt me even more so getting kicked out. And then guess what? Me getting kicked out and letting other people influence his mama and his daddy who know me, they gonna feel guilty. Like, hold on, why would he even like show? Was that a publicity? No, they're gonna have other people trying to convince them. Yeah, don't feel sorry for him. That was a publicity stunt or whatever, like type of, you know. But I'm just painting the picture. He should have went. Man, no army in the world would have held me from trying to go to my partner's funeral, man. I go see his body. I'd have been in there. Unless the moms and the dad, them, I'm saying, they like, man, you can't be here. They kicked me out. And I'd have been like, I just wanted to pay, you know, get him a couple words of it right here, right now, while I'm dressed in my black. And you know what I'm saying? Hit, send my partner. I'm gonna talk to y'all straight like this, you know. Woo, 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 woo. And I showed up here with death threats and stuff on me and my family, but I still came because Nolan was my real friend. I don't give a damn about that, and I ain't scared to die. Like, whatever happened to him, he wasn't scared, so I'm not scared. Man, you don't think them people would have looked at him and been like, is we really accusing the right people of doing this to our son?
No, you said some real shit right there, but
think about it, Jay. You don't think they would have sat back and been like, hold on, who is we really accusing of doing this to our son?
Right, and I think that that's the right way to think, because if you remember his memories, I want to say three quarters into his story that he was just saying. I mean, just telling. He said that Noah went this way and he went that way, so he doesn't know the rest of the day what happened. So only thing he knows is last time he seen Noah, he was with the girl, blah 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 blah. He woke up, missed the phone call, went back to sleep, woke up again. Brother knocked on the door, told him he need to call, blah blah blah. He called back. All this, you know, just back and forth. But at the same time, I'm sitting back thinking, like, you wouldn't know anything. So why wouldn't they call you and inform you to bring and tag you along for you to take up for them, just in case anything fell on their back? Like, man, if the police ever thought this about that, let's add him in, because he wasn't there. He doesn't know what took place for the rest of the day. So at the same time, they can use him as their scapegoat. Not saying that that is the situation in him. Just saying, because he really doesn't know what happened that afternoon after he left the island. And Noah and the girl and the little crew that he was with, they were still there after he left. So
let's get it. Let's go. Let's get back into it. Spend that shit.
Being involved in this case made it better or worse?
100,000 times % worse. Because why on the Tuesday after where has your civil rights been broken? Where has it been shown? You brought Benjamin Crump to stir up a community that's already tight-knit. Yeah, we might not be best friends with everybody, but I promise, if you're talking about Ocean Springs as a whole, Ocean Springs is going to have Ocean Springs back 110%. We back each other. Everybody I've seen.
That father lets me know right there he ain't gonna get a full investigation right there, because Ocean Springs protect Ocean's heritage. We have each other's back.
Right, and then on top of that, if you had it back, if y'all was a strong net community, I'm assuming maybe a third of y'all went out to the island where y'all didn't have Noah back. But I digress.
For them to push this narrative and really push it just shows me is like you have no idea who you're dealing with or who you're messing with. And I think he's taking the grieving parents and manipulating and turning this and making it sound all bad, because nothing's like that at all. No.
Have you gotten death threats? Or, because I know that the other young men that I spoke to about this, especially the white young men, they're getting all kind of death threats. They're being accused of killing Nolan. Did you get the same backlash and threats that some of those guys have gotten?
Yes, I've gotten the death threats per se, but I've also gotten the threats along the lines of where it's like I've been cast out of the Black community.
Mm.
I've been called white. I've been called a wetback. All these things. I've been sent photos of me and my grandmother, and they've been told that she's the devil. She's just looking for the time to kill you. You need to be careful and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, man, if y'all want to know the story, the only people that's
Man,
Why
if
would they
y'all
say something
believe
like
what,
that about your grandma?
bro,
Why would they say something like that about your grandma? Your grandma, old KKK member, huh? Why would they say something like that about your grandma? She must got some history in little Springtown, huh? She must have lynched a couple people in her day, huh? She must be
oh,
known to be a known racist, huh? Why would they say something like that about your grandma? And why would you bring that up? Go ahead, Jay. I don't know, bro. I don't. Go ahead, Jay. Go ahead.
they said he looked like his. I'm gone, man.
He said I've been called a wetback.
And you know something, I'm not being racist or anything like that, but that definitely sounds like something that I mean a Caucasian person would say. Like I don't, you know, we don't as a community, as the Black community,
He said
like
that shit
certain
like it hurt
words,
his
like
feelings. He said that shit like it hurt. I was called a wetback. He said that shit like it hurt his feelings. I've been called a white boy, racist. I've been called a wetback.
that, bro, like it's getting more and more and more and more interesting by just listening, and that's the biggest thing that we doing right now, listening. So let me go ahead and spin that.
Spin that shit.
showed up for me in my whole life has been my white side of my family. So for y'all to sit there and drag their name and to drag me down, and I'm supposed to be one of y'all, and you're supposed to have my back, and we're supposed to be in this together, and it's really eye-opening.
Did it shock you that it
I'm
turned this
supposed to
way?
be. Hold on,
Meaning
Jay. I
that
can't let
you
that
know
one
you see
slide. We ain't
everything
gonna stay on
happen.
this
Nolan was
too
your
long. But
friend,
hold on, Jay.
from all the young men I talked to,
He
it
said
seemed
I'm
like
supposed
Nolan
to be
was
one of y'all.
the life of the party.
He said I'm supposed to be one of y'all. If y'all catch the show we did last night, Ryan Clark was saying how he did everything to try to be one of them also. When you do that, or if you even feel like you're supposed to be one of them, these thems, whatever the thems are, they always cash you out if they feel like you're not. Your tan is pretty good, man. You got a nice tan on you. I don't think you really fitting in with them like the way you feel like you supposed to. You're a mixed breed. It's like Harry Potter. You're not a pureblood. You understand me? And that shit hit home because the way he just said it, I'm supposed to be one of y'all. Who the fuck is y'all? And who you supposed to be one of is the question.
Right.
Mississippi different. Mississippi is different. And like I said, when you're in these racial groups and you making it seem like, yeah, Nolan was my bud, but yet you saying I'm supposed to be a part of y'all, that don't seem like you really have the same love for Noah the way the Black community really would. And you feel like you outcast out the Black community, but yet you chose your side and they kicking you out too. They don't want nothing to do with you neither. That's why you saying I'm supposed to be one of y'all. Who the fuck is y'all? And what you supposed to be? Like I'm confused. But let's spin that shit. Run that part back so we get that on the record. Run that part back. Spin that shit.
Y'all, and you're supposed to have my back, and we're supposed to be in this together, and it's the devil. She's just looking for the time to kill you. You need to be careful and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, man, if y'all want to know the story, the only people that's showed up for me in my whole life has been my white side of my family. So for y'all to sit there and drag their name and to drag me down, and I'm supposed to be one of y'all, and you're supposed to have my back, and we're supposed to be in this together. And it's really eye-opening.
Did it shock you that it turned this way? Meaning that, you see everything happen. Nolan was your friend. From all the young men I talked to, it seemed like Nolan was the life of the party. Everybody loved Nolan. He gets along with everybody. Everybody's cool. And everybody feels like Nolan made them feel like everybody's his best friend, right? I mean, everybody felt connected to Nolan. Were you shocked that it turned like this? I mean, where this community was tight-knit, Nolan's friend group was tight. He ends up losing his life in an unfortunate situation, which nobody knows exactly what happened. Did it shock you that it turned into some racial thing?
Yes, racial, I do agree. Now, it going famous or going viral, that part didn't shock me. Thinking about it and being honest, like, that's not a surprise because everybody did love Nolan. Especially around here, everybody loved Nolan. So for people to repost that, they know Nolan. I mean, they know he did not have one hateful thing in his heart. And racism, no. That was a shock. That was a complete shock from his mom and from his stepdad. Like, that's a shock.
One thing I gotta say, and we can get back into it. See, this the thing with the whole racism part. Like, we don't know what happened to Noah out there, regardless of the fact what happened to him out there. He was surrounded by more Caucasians than blacks. So if anything happened to him, it was racial. Not saying that that we are calling these young men racist, anything like that. But if a murder occurred on this water or on that island, then he was murdered by a white person. So it's just make it make sense.
Wait, bro, in Mississippi, on the 250th anniversary of this country's independence, the 4th of July, in Mississippi. Spin that shit. Spin that shit, man.
Shock. That's an utter shock because it's like, first off, I don't know how to word this. Nolan wasn't fully black. Nolan's mixed. Nolan has a little bit of Asian in him. You don't hear that, though. You don't. So to turn it as like somebody's harping down on Nolan because of the color of his skin, you don't know us. You don't know our community. It's crazy that people are just running with a lie. And it's so easy for people to believe it from the outside, looking into Mississippi's history, per se. But it's like, you're looking at history. Let's go to each state's history. I bet they're not the best with black people. Like, people change. You learn history so you don't repeat it. Everybody knows that.
What's the craziest lie that you've seen floating around there about this situation? I know there's a lot of mysterious things, but like, what to you, what's the craziest thing that you've heard?
Man, just his attitude made me feel like he had something to do with this. I'm just sorry.
Heard somebody say about this.
That my buddy in the photo was his lover. That was wild. That's been the utmost craziest because it's like, what? Like, where'd you get that from? Yeah. I mean, also the lies of just how racist Mississippi is, or how racist the coast is, and Ocean Springs, and no, you don't know this, man. Like, you have no idea. And what I thought was crazy lie from the beginning was he's the only black person on the boat. He's the only black person on the island. No, not at all. Like, not once. Like, where'd you get this background information from?
How many people are on that island from your vantage point?
On the 4th of July?
Yeah.
Thousands? 13 miles? Like, I mean, you're talking hundreds and hundreds of boats that are carrying minimum 4 to 8, 9 people. Like, I'm talking like on the lower end, man. We're talking about smaller vessels here. Man, if I had to take a rough estimate in my area of the island that I was in, 400, 500 people easy. If I'm taking an actual estimate, about 400 to 500 people easy. In our group, in the group of, I would say, young adults that were in the group of Nolan Wells, 100, 150, 200 people.
So the idea that Nolan went out with 4 white boys and they took him to a deserted island and he was allegedly last seen with a girl and they just abandoned him. What do you say to that?
No. From the time they left, including myself, and also when I left the island, I could have named 50 people I really trust behind the helm of a boat that Nolan knew, that he could go talk to. Even if he was left, there was tons and tons of people out there. There was 10 boats that camped out at Horn Island. I know a boat that didn't leave Horn Island until 8 o'clock that night. Nobody would have ever seen, nobody would have ever left somebody on Horn Island. That's a place of everybody loves to go and hang out. That's their peace. Nobody wants to see anybody out there, especially in the boating community. And I can speak on that, like, genuinely. I grew up in it. That's absurd. It's absurd.
So can you help me understand the fight a little better? Because I interviewed Warren, who's your friend, and he had made mention that his brother was involved in the fight. So can you explain who actually started fighting, and were you fighting his brother or were you fighting somebody else? Like, how did that happen?
Yeah, and I can see now, especially, it's all been blown out of proportion. But so originally, I'll go back a couple steps. Original, me and my girlfriend, I wouldn't even call it an argument. She was upset that I lost the lid to her koozie. I dropped it in the water.
You said something, bro?
No. I ain't said nothing.
Generally speaking, that's how it started. And I dropped her new koozie in the water. And so she started to let me hear it and basically told me I was paying for it. And she was really upset with me and mad about it. And I needed to kind of sober up a little bit. And so we're walking back. And during that time, this guy that I'm not friends with, I know of him. I don't know him. I didn't even recognize him when I got in an original fight. He had butted himself into my conversation and basically was telling me how I needed to handle or address the situation with my girlfriend. Man, we weren't even yelling at each other. We weren't arguing. It was more along the lines of, I literally told her, I was like, man, I just want a beer. And she was like, well, go get one, blah, blah, blah. Well, when I said that, she had ducked her head underwater and he had walked up and he told me that I needed to watch how I talked to my girlfriend. And I looked at him and I told him, I was like, this has nothing to do with you. We're good. This has nothing to do with you. And he sat there and he was like, well, I'm going to tell you, I better not hear it again. And I looked at him and I was like, you need to excuse yourself from the situation. And after I came out, he swung. He threw the first punch. And we went back and forth. I remember at one point in time, I look over and I see my uncle, and my uncle's yelling at me to get in the boat. I stopped fighting. As soon as me and him made eye contact, I got in the boat, I'm sorry. And I listened to my uncle.
And what was Warren's brother involvement in this?
And so I was getting there.
Wait,
So
pause it,
when I'm
bro.
on the boat and they're trying to
Hold
cool me
up.
down. I'm trying.
Hold up. So the dude you got into it with had something to say about the way you was treating your girl. And he was like, nah, bro, you talking to us. You know what I mean? You tripping, like, you feel me? And he throw the first punch at you. And then you start fighting, and then your uncle call you to the boat. What the
Right.
uncle going out there with his old ass, and it's supposed to be a bunch of like young kids out there. Your uncle out there. Who is your uncle? We need to interview him. See if he's a part of the KKK. Let's check his background. What uncle? Who is your uncle? Who is this white man that probably was out there? Huh? With a bunch of kids. And you probably was mad at Nolan because he didn't help you fight. Let me dissect this a little bit, Jay. Let me see something right quick. So I feel this will really happen. You was talking to your girl crazy. Dude told you, man, don't be talking to her like that. Man, you wrong, bro. Like he came with respect, but he was also saying, like, dude, it's 4th of July weekend. You ruined it, bro. Look at she mad, you gotta cry. You know, chill out, bro. And you took it as a offense. Whoa, you went to bucking. You went to buck, man. Fuck you. You and then you swung on him. Y'all went to fighting like that. If you ask me, you was defending your pride behind somebody getting in your business. Ain't no way you was as humble as you saying it right here in this interview. Stop it. And Officer Tatum, you're a cop, and you know if somebody was to be jumping in your business with you and your wife, if y'all have a disagreement, you'll be ready to take off on a motherfucker too. Think about it now, y'all. Come on, Saints of God. So I feel like you was defending and you addressed that smoke with him. You brought that smoke to him even more so because he had something to say about you and your situation. So when y'all started fighting because of you swung on him first. He didn't swing on you. You swung on that kid first. And y'all start fighting. You're looking for your black friends to do what the black friends do, right? Jump in. That's what you see online. And Nolan didn't do that shit. He keep kicking it with his shorty. Like, bro, you was talking to your girl crazy. You is jealous that I got this chick because you got into it with your bitch, but yet you mad I'm with a bitch that you wanted to be with. Bro, come on. Not to call them bitches. I'm sorry, man. You know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna do it like that. But these women, these ladies, these little females, these young women. All right. You got these young women, you got into it with your young lady, and then Nolan bobbing with his new thing out there. Like, you know what I'm saying? It seemed like you was more jealous. Not only he was enjoying himself more than you, he was the life of the party more than you. You got into it with your girl, and you mad. You said it yourself. I made a slick comment walking past him about the girl he kicking it with. Bro, it's a lot of like signs that, man, you had a bad 4th of July and you was mad he had a good one. And y'all came together. It's no way this black kid had more fun on this island than I did. Am I bugging? Am I doing too much by saying that? Come on, chat. Let me know, man. Come on, man. I need y'all opinions, man. Come on now. Write something. Let me know. Am I tripping? Because at the end of the day, ain't nowhere in the world is so much tension within a short span of time, and don't nobody know what happened to Nolan. A fight, you got into it with your girl. Nolan wanted to stay with chick. You saying a slick comment to him, walking past him while he was with the chick, about the chick. You made a slick comment. Like, come on. Come on. Spin that shit, Jay. You got something to say, God? You got something to say? You want to add to that, Jay? You want to add to that, Boogie?
Oh no, bro. You was definitely hitting on a lot of things though. Like I said, just my same words, over and over, man. His aggression, the way he explaining his, his side, and he left out a few things that don't make sense to me. You know what I'm saying? For the whole part about him going this way and Noah going that way, But you know, like the full story, everything. I understand that they probably told him, but just like I said, he just seems like he got a real bad attitude. And especially when he's speaking on the black community and us defending him and taking up for him and all this. It's like, you know, he don't know the half or what's going on outside of that community that he live in. But you live in a state that still has sundown towns, that still doesn't look at a black or a white, I mean a black or black woman as a human being. You still got people live in those areas in that state that still has that thought process. So just for him to say those little few things, like we don't know about his community, like, yeah, we might don't know about y'all community, but we know about the state of Mississippi. So, but yeah, that's all I got to say.
Spin that shit.
And get back off the boat because I see the crowd forming up on the island. Well, my little brother and Carter are like really good friends, like best friends, I would say. He's over at our house all the time. Carter heard him still talking crap as he's getting out of the water, and I'm on the boat, and the situation is like done and over with, right? Well, he sees him talking crap, so Carter gets up, and more along the lines of defending me. And for what? He was like, well, if you got a problem with Tristan, we can handle it right here.
So what's the racial breakup of these people that are involved? So the guy that you fought was
white. I'm the only black guy involved in this whole entire thing.
Yeah.
And at all. Like, I mean, I don't know. Carter is white. The dude I got in a fight with is white. Mm-hmm. I was the only black guy involved with this. My girlfriend's white. My uncle's white. There was
your uncle, that's what I wanted to know. Your uncle white. Okay.
I know Ben.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to know.
Your run with a story white. Saying I was Nolan. But well, I was like, nice try. But there was another black guy on the island, so now your whole narrative needs to change again.
Right.
Like,
they using you to be the spokesperson because you was the only black guy. Your uncle white, your girlfriend white, all your other partners are white. The only
Didn't I just say, bro? I said that earlier. I said that earlier, bro. Like I feel like he's being a pawn right now. He's directing the whole race thing because he's black and he's he's friends with the rest of them. So
like
he's supposed to be down.
Remember when he said that shit? I'm supposed to be one of y'all.
Right. And then if you look at this situation, when he said, when he brought the whole race thing, man, like it just makes me think, man, like he don't know what's going on, but he definitely know what's going on. Like he know more than what he's saying. His story is flip flop. Like you see a lot of aggression on some of the questions, even though I know they probably rehearsed these questions, but now he know he's being viewed, you know, by millions of people now. So that camera turned on. So now his attitude and everything starting to switch. Now you can see it. But yeah, man, it's something about this young boy that we need to keep our eye on. Like everybody we need to talk about and discuss, but we need to keep our eye on him.
You know what I mean? Like, but that was Carter's involvement, and that was kind of it. Like after the fight, man, I remember getting off the boat. I got off the boat and I walked up to the island. And I was telling people, I was like, hey, like I just need to cool off. Like, let me be. This is after everything is dispersed. There was no crowd anymore when I walked off the boat. And I was like, let me be. Well, again, my uncle yelled at me and I was like, I don't care what you're doing. Get back on the boat. We're leaving. So I got back on the boat and we left shortly after that.
And well, at least I know you from the interviews that you've done. Some of the other boys haven't spoken out at all.
Yeah.
You've had a chance to use your voice to put the truth out there. You did an interview with, I think, ABC. And you also did an interview with the Rolling Stones.
That was my first interview, yeah, with Rolling Stones.
The first interview was Rolling Stones, then ABC?
And then ABC, yes.
Now, from what you told me before this interview is that the Rolling Stones gave you a very fair interview. It seemed like the young lady who interviewed you articulated very clearly what you told her with no fluff, no nothing added.
And she cared. She really did care. And she made sure that what she was telling was the complete truth behind everything with me, with my uncle, and then also fact checking on her side as being in media. And it all aligned, man. And when they came out with that, it was really genuine. When I felt that, it brought me to tears because it was like, that's the truth. That's exactly how it needed to be worded. And I appreciated her. I appreciated her a lot. And we took her out to Horn Island this morning to do another little bit. But she's done well, and that's the truth. Her story is nothing but the truth.
Now, ABC, on the other hand, did they treat you fairly, or how did that go?
So I don't want to say they treated me unfairly. The quotes that he used in the article, he did ask me for my permission on it. And I gave it to him to an extent. I changed up some stuff and that he initially didn't change when he came out with it. And then the voice recording, that's really what gets me, because that's what the main people are listening to, right? They're not going in and reading in depth in the article and really seeing everything. They're just going off of, well, what's on TV, because people don't like to read these days. But how they made that and cut a lot of my voice sounded horrible. Sounded bad. I didn't like it. I didn't like that side of it, but it already aired, so what was I going to do? Really?
And at one point, I could have sworn you said that you didn't feel comfortable doing the interview on camera.
Yes.
And did you do that because you didn't want to be visibly promoted on television, or what? How did that?
So the side of that, and I didn't want to be on camera for two main reasons. I never wanted to do an interview and get famous. I never wanted any attention, per se, famous attention. I don't care about the negative side of it. I'm doing
But you did two of them, though.
I never wanted any positive attention, let's say. All I wanted to be is for my guys to know that I had their back, and I got Nolan's back. And I didn't want the investigation especially on social media side, I guess, and with Ben Crump and their legal team, to go down the wrong path at all. That was my sole purpose, is to tell the truth and to clear up lies. When I talked to ABC, they wanted to do an in-person interview, and I told them no. I told them no because I'm getting death threats, and I don't like them. It is what it is. I'm not putting myself out there any more than I need to, and I'm not sitting behind a camera and so for somebody to watch me talk about my best friend. And I told him, I was like, if you want to do an article, it's okay. I'll talk and you can do the article on that side of it. I never originally wanted to go on TV, period. He convinced me into only using my voice, which now I regret, and I wish I would have just sat in front of a camera so you can visibly see the cuts. But they manipulated that interview pretty well. They made it sound a lot worse. And I know for a fact,
they gonna ask. No, they was asking the right questions.
Because I was in tears.
They was asking the right questions. Questions he not gonna ask you. Questions he defending you on. Yeah. They asking you the hard shit over there. The shit that the questions that rebuttal the questions that rebuttal your answer to see if you're lying. And there's a lot of gaps in the story. So yeah, man. Officer Tatum ain't gonna ask you questions like that. He on your side. But let's go. Run it. Spin that shit.
Entire time talking about it. When he asked me about Nolan's death, and he put it if you listen to it carefully, he cuts it and I just say die. Nobody wants to see him die. I don't talk like that, man. That's not what I said. I did say died during at one point in our interview, but I said we didn't want to see his life being taken from us, period. They didn't put that. They twisted some things around, and they almost made a different narrative to where it's like now people are coming out and lying.
Mm.
And it's like, man, no.
Yeah,
And
I was wondering if you were gonna. I remember I was like, I could have sworn he said he didn't want to be on camera, and they put your picture all over the news. I mean, how did you feel about that? Was that something that you were okay with them doing that, or?
I kind of accepted it. I accepted it because I gave Rolling Stone permission to do it. So I know that's where they probably got that original photo of me and him standing next to each other.
But still, that's kind of weird that you tell them, oh, I don't want to, even if you gave you the permission to Rolling Stones, you go, I don't want to be on camera. And they put your picture up there on camera anyway.
I agree. It is weird.
Yeah.
It's weird. It's odd, but I generally speaking, man, like I'm worried about my family's safety, but I have no regrets in what I've done and what I've said. Not one. I sleep better at night now that I've spoken up and I felt like I've done my part of the good, and I'm willing to help any other time if anything else pops up that I can't help with. And I genuinely just want the truth to be heard about it all. And it kills me and it breaks my heart that my best friends are going through this. Like, this is at home. This isn't something I'm just watching through a screen, listening to you talk about it or listening to somebody else talk about it. I'm living this. I'm getting the calls from my buddies crying, asking me how I'm not scared out of my mind. How am I okay dealing with all this?
So one thing that kind of stood out to me.
Why is you crying if you're innocent? Why is they calling you crying?
Was you said
y'all innocent
in your interview?
Why is he calling y'all? Or my buddy's calling me crying. Why?
Crying about what? Like,
crying about what?
Y'all innocent. Y'all innocent. But at the same time, you know, at the same time, once again, you kind of can take him and put him on the sideline and know for a fact that he don't know what happened for the rest of that evening.
Right, exactly. But my whole thing is, bro, he not even like making it. He it's hard to hide it. He just basically said, like, my buddy's calling me crying. What the fuck they crying for if they innocent, man? I look, well, how y'all need me to help y'all? I'm not worried about nothing. And then the last thing in the white boy's mind is going to jail for some shit he didn't do. Let's be clear about that too. That's the last thing going through his mind. Going to jail for some shit that I didn't do. Ain't no way, man. Like, the community can speak up and say I didn't do this. But if you guilty, you guilty. If they find not ways, but if they find an angle and you in the wrong, then yeah, you got to pay for what you did. But it's cool for shit like that to happen to us, but it ain't cool for shit like that to happen to them. What the fuck is they crying for? No, it's not time to cry. It's time for answers. Spend that shit.
Best friend. Nolan's mother said on television that, as if she don't even know you and she don't know who you are, and you're definitely not, at least is what she alluded to, you're definitely not his best friend. So what's the truth in that, and how did that affect you? How did that make you feel?
So she originally touched and she said that we weren't childhood best friends, and she's not wrong. She's not wrong. I moved to Ocean Springs in 9th grade. I met Nolan in 9th grade, as I've stated in my Rolling Stone interview. Nolan
you
was my
said
best
the
friend.
8th grade.
She can believe it or not, that was my best friend. No, me and her never had a sit down in depth conversation like me and you're having now. It was always, hey, how are you doing? I've been to her house multiple times. I've taken Nolan to school multiple times. I've left my vehicle at her house multiple times, even including the new vehicle I just got. Has gotten left at her house for 2 days. And I just got it. I haven't even had it for 4 months. My vehicle before that stayed at her house for almost a week. Me and her son went on trips together. We went to Florida for spring break together. You don't know me? I'm in all these homecoming and prom photos as our whole friend group. Me and Nolan are standing next to each other. You don't know me. Nolan's last name is Wells. My last name at one point in time was Walker. We were by each other in the alphabet when we graduated. Man, that's mind-boggling. It's insane. Me and Nolan have multiple classes together. Me and Nolan has always stayed tight. Nolan has always known that he could call me whatever. And like I've mentioned, like I got a new phone number 2 months ago. Nolan was the only friend that had my phone number out of the friend group, and I still call them my best friends. But we communicate on other social media.
She wasn't
But
saying
it's
that.
like,
Hold on, pause it.
Hey, to meet up with me on the 4th out there.
Pause it. That further lets me, bro, you heard what he just said? You had got a new number. You got a new number, and only Nolan had that number out of the whole friend group. Bro, because this shit was already planned. They were saying what they was going to do to Nolan 2 months before. This premeditated. They was probably plotting on what they was going to do him on that island 2 months before it even happened. Just from him saying that. What's the sense of you changing your number? What's the sense of you even getting? You weren't getting death threats then. It wasn't no problem with you then. Why would you change your number and only give that number to Nolan? You felt something too? Or did you say, yeah, look, bro, one of us probably get sacrificed for the 4th of July on some joking shit, but you probably felt that tension and didn't really, and then it happened, and now you trying to, I don't know, bro. I don't know. But the shit
What makes me look at it a little different is, for one, when you said earlier, bro, like just a few seconds about, you know what I'm saying, the phone number and only Noah had it. Well, how did the boys call you or call your brother, you know what I'm saying, looking for you? Like you said, he ended up calling, one of the boys ended up calling his phone, and he didn't answer because he was asleep. But if Noah's the only person that you gave the number to, then how did you get that phone call? Secondly, what I want to say, and last thought, bro, she never said that y'all wasn't friends or best friends. She said y'all wasn't childhood friends. And for you to feel some type of way about her saying that, which you just said before you went on your spiel, you said that, yeah, she's right. We didn't grow up. I met Noah in 9th grade. So the things that she said, how did it hurt your feelings if she was telling the truth?
Come on. How much more we got of this, bro? Because we're going to have to move on. We've been on this pretty long. I got something else I want to play.
We got probably like another 15 minutes on it. I mean, we can stop it. You know what I'm saying? They can, you know, of course, you know, shout out to Officer Tatum, and you know, you got to give
his boots.
Love that, you know.
Boots. Shout out Officer Tatum and them boots. But
at the same time, you know, we can move on though if you want. But like I said, it's like probably 15
let's move on. Let's move on.
All right.
Let's move on, man. Because I got some other stuff we're gonna cover too. Let's move on. I got this coming up. Let me share this for y'all right quick. I really wanted to finish this. So let's get into the end of this debate. When my signal was bad, it was messing up in general, but I really want to hit this closing, and I want y'all to stick with me. Let's do it.
That is to have the information that you need in order to ask the best questions.
Charles, they drug these boys through the mother freaking mud. They put their faces online. Benjamin Crump shared this video or this picture of them in a swimming pool. That happened. That event was a week before July 4th. He didn't do no due diligence to Twitter before he started putting this stuff out there. Then what he do is he go, I had people saying that the argument was Nolan Wells asking for his phone back. He didn't talk to Tristan, who I interviewed. Tristan said on NBC, that was me. Or ABC, that was me. He pushed this stuff on these boys and they getting death threats. That stuff is not right. Benjamin should be more responsible. But the reason
I'm not
that
here
I
to talk about Nolan Wells' lawyer. I'm here to talk about why Nolan Wells is not why Nolan Wells is dead.
But let's get
That's
to that.
the
Let's get to that. Let's get to that. Let's get to
That's
this.
the conversation.
Let's get to the phones.
Go ahead.
The phones getting deleted. Because Al Sharpton came out there and said the mama had to go and search the phone down with GPS and Life 360. No, she didn't. The boys showed text messages, or the parents showed text messages of them communicating with his mom. She refused. And then they go and say they deleted. The boys say, the boys told me it could be not true or not. I don't know. They got to figure it out. They go, we didn't touch his phone. His phone went from the boat to the car with everybody else's phone. And when they came to get the phone, we got the phone out of the car and gave it to another young man's mom who came to get the other young man's phone. They said, we don't know Nolan's password. How will we get in his phone and delete anything? On TV and saying there was no password, or they had to get through his phone.
Let me ask you this question. Based on your investigation, I'm asking you this. I'm thinking of any parent that loses their child wants to get to the bottom of it. They don't care if the villain is white, black, or whatever. Their child is dead. They want the culprit. So when you see Al Sharpton eulogizing and announcing that there's a $100,000 reward, when you see that Tyler Perry agreed to pay for the funeral and put up half of the reward, when you see guys like Spike Lee and Terrell Owens in attendance, and Terrell Owens, I think, dedicated $25,000, if I remember correctly, according to the reports that I've read, and you see Benjamin Crump in attendance, and you're talking about civil rights lawyers being in attendance, like you just pointed out. My question to you, Officer Tatum, and Charles, you can follow up based on the answer that he provides. My question to you is, why do you think the parents decided to go that route, Officer Tatum, based on your investigation in terms of allowing all of those folks to be so intimately involved in this situation? What are your thoughts about that? What comes to your mind, particularly based on your investigation, talking to the actual parties supposedly involved?
There's two thoughts that come to my mind. One is that Al Sharpton and Benjamin Crump are manipulating this family's trauma in order for them to make a crap ton of money. That's one. The second one is the parents trying to cash in on this because, and it's the reason why I say this. Why did no?
He always trying to make it about money, but yet you are defending that side, doing these interviews and you posting them and you making money. Like I don't really care for Officer Tatum like that, man. I'm gonna be honest, because he's known to be a part of the white fatigue. They talk about black fatigue, but he's a black man and he is leading the white fatigue movement, and that's facts. That's facts. I never seen somebody that go against their own people so much other than him, because when something else come up at the point of him saying he want an example of something, and it's a perfect example of what happened to the Central Park Five, he tried to rebuttal by saying all of them didn't go to jail. Motherfucker, they was all accused and convicted for that shit, and they all was innocent. It went too far from the beginning. It shouldn't even went that far. And he making it seem like, oh no, can't let that type of stuff happen to these white boys. You know what I mean? That's part of some shit that really be bothering me when it comes to it. It bothers me. It does. Let's go, Jay. You got something to say on that?
Yeah, bro. Like you made a big point about him saying like, you know, it's a money grab, but you around here making money yourself. You going live, you doing the interviews, you here, you there, and then on top of that, you don't make people feel that you're being unbiased. Like you're bringing the news, you know, you covering the story, you getting information, you know, news that we can use. It just seems like you already shifted on one side, just the way you talk, the way you question them, like especially the first interview he did with the first young man, like the way that he questioned them and things like that was most of they were just sitting back, just having a regular conversation. So it already makes you feel like he already picked the side on what he think is correct and what's the truth. Like at the end of the day, these still some young men. They minds they still developing. You know, a lot of stupid things that they do at those age. Because you know, I was young at one point. I did make mistakes as well. But at the end of the day, you just can't wholeheartedly and give this a solid thumbs up, saying that everything that these kids are telling you is true.
Mm. Yeah, it's facts. Let's get back to it, John.
Nolan Wells' mama say, I don't know these kids. These boys showed me pictures and video and texting them staying over his house, or at least the young boy Tristan staying over his house multiple times. She went to school with one of the other boys' mama, graduated high school with her. They showed me the yearbook. Why is she saying this? Why Al Sharpton don't know this boy? Why is he eulogizing him at his funeral? Ain't never met Nolan a day in his life. You know, why are they saying we're going to give $100,000 to somebody who give us information to lead to an arrest? What if Nolan drowned? They don't care about him drowning. You know, and then also, why we don't do this for any other young men who have lost their lives at the hands of other people, other than white people?
Hold up. Man, you listening to what you sure you won't go there? Man, you sure you won't say some shit like that, dog?
You hear that, right? That's crazy, right?
Man, what? Man. Bro, what?
Once again, it speaks volumes on what I was saying earlier. It seemed like he already picked the side and has the mindset of what he thinks about his own. Well, he already said that. Excuse the dog, but he already said that he don't consider himself black first. So
exactly, yeah. He considered himself an American first before black. But at the end of the day, bro, for you to say something like that, but he saying that why would Al Sharpton do this eulogy for this kid? He don't even know this kid, bro. Most people that died, the person that read the eulogy, he like, man, well, my father gonna read your daddy probably died, bro, before you even died. How you know if you die, he'll be the one that, because you'll put that in your will or something? He probably don't even want to do it once you dead. Like, man, I'm not about to get up there and read that shit. He lived a good life. Shit, we collected on his insurance that he left in our name. Thank you, son. The fuck? At the end of the day, you making it seem like this world in America is just so bright blue, white. You know what I mean? Like, man, you tripping, bro. You tripping, bro.
Them kids don't know you, and you interviewing them.
Bruh, he wouldn't have been able to even talk to them kids if he didn't talk to their lawyers first. You don't think he went about them? He talked to them, they lawyers, before they even gave him the okay to even interview that kid on his show. And the only reason why that kid did that, because you gave him complete immunity. I ain't gonna ask you all the tough shit. I'm gonna make sure I ask the shit to prove your point in your story. And I ain't gonna do my officer work as a officer and actually nail the holes within your story. Now I'm gonna let you express what you got going and let you talk your mind. I'm gonna let you speak freely. Even if I hear a gap in your story that I know, well, hold on, that don't add up with what you just, I'm not going to do that to you. And then in the same breath, you about to say this. You about to say this.
This house multiple times. She went to school with one of the other boys' mama, graduated high school with her. They showed me the yearbook.
That don't mean she
Why
know
is
her.
she saying this? Why Al Sharpton don't know this boy? Why is he eulogizing him at his funeral? Ain't never met Nolan a day in his life. You know, why are they saying we're gonna give $100,000 to somebody who give us information to lead to an arrest? What if Nolan drowned? They don't care about him drowning. You know, and then also,
what if Nolan was hung?
Do this for any other.
What if Nolan was hung? You don't care about him being hung, huh? Come on.
Young men who have lost their lives at the hands of other people other than white people. Why are we coming together?
Charles, I'm going to give you the floor, Charles. Charles, I'm going to give you the floor to say one thing. I want to make sure that I give you an opportunity to clarify, because it's one thing to feel what you feel about Benjamin Crump, Reverend Al Sharpton, etc. It's another thing entirely to lump the parents who just lost their child.
But I know it's
talking about they're trying to profit.
I know it's
sensitive. You sure you want to say that? That's what I'm saying. You sure you want to say that?
Let me be clear about this. You asked me what my thoughts were. I didn't say that that was facts. I just said these are my thoughts based on a few factors, right?
Okay.
There ain't no reason for Al Sharpton to be doing that boy's eulogy when Al never knew.
That's not even your call or your business. But
what I'm saying is that if I die, my daddy, if I die,
that's you. Respect the choices.
That's you. If you die, not if Nolan died. That's if you die.
Exactly.
Everybody not gonna do it the way you and your family gonna do some shit, bro. It could have been a fucking kid that got killed listening to fucking somebody rap, like went viral. Just for instance, dog. Now I won't paint this picture on no child, nobody's kid. But somebody come up to the car and they see the kid in the car and they dead, and he was listening to one of his famous rap. He was listening to Young Thug or something. Or he was listening to fucking Young Boy or something, like, and Young Boy show up and pay for, like, greet the parents, pay for the whole funeral. You know what I'm saying? Or I'm just saying, bruh. And they let them do the eulogy. So he never met him a day in his life neither. But yet the kid went viral because of some shit that happened to him in the wrong way. Well, shit, we're gonna have the proper person to do the right eulogy for him. And that's not to say that's your family of way of doing it, but you can't judge their family of way of doing it. That's just your opinion, and your opinion can be aggressive, but that's fucked up for you to say that. Like, well, my daddy gonna do. That's you and your daddy, homie. That's you and your daddy. All right, that's you and your daddy, bro. Let's go.
Let him speak.
If I get killed,
that family had a choice.
Why?
Who it is that? Why is that? They don't have to answer to you. That's not.
They don't. But I have an opinion.
That's that family. Okay. I don't even understand who that family chose to eulogize their fallen son.
What is
any of your business to have any commentary about?
Well, you can't tell me that because it don't seem normal. It don't seem normal to me.
Anyone they wanted to.
It don't seem normal. It don't seem normal to me for a man that don't even preach sermons to do a eulogy for a boy that didn't know.
Okay, we're going off the rails. We're going off the rails because Charles, I know you got to get ready to go. We're running out of time, so I'm just going to give this last question to both of y'all. Officer Tatum, I'm going to give you the word, and then Charles Coleman, I'm going to give you the last word. What are your expectations of what is going to come of this when all is said and done, based on the evidence that we know? Charles, Officer Tatum, I'll go with you first. Charles, I'll give you the last word.
And I'll try to make this succinct. I think we're going to find that the law enforcement agency did a fair investigation, that they did things right all the way through the process, and that none of this will lead to any of what Al Sharpton them said it was and alluded that it was, and they will get to the bottom of what happened to Nolan, and it will be clean, it will be professional, and it will be the same result without the interference with activists and people out here hoodwinking. I think that they're going to find out what happened to Nolan, and it's not going to be Al Sharpton. It's not going to be Benjamin Crump. It's going to be the law enforcement agencies that go out and do this stuff every single day, that does an investigation, that's going to be forensically looked through the cell phone, that's going to interview 60 people and find out what happened to Nolan. And they're going to be able to say, was it somebody that did something nefarious to Nolan? They're going to be prosecuted. If Nolan drowned, they're going to let the family know he drowned. That's going to be the totality of this investigation, which didn't have nothing to do with this race stuff and had nothing to do with these activists coming out and making money on the death of another black boy.
Charles, I'll give you the last word because I know you got to go.
Sure. Thank you, Stephen A. I don't necessarily know what will come of the case. I am and continue to be invested in the integrity of the process. Number one, so that it sets a precedent of getting to the facts and having objective information disseminated to the public in a way that's honest, truthful, and transparent. What I will say is that it's disappointing to sit and listen to Brandon talk about the same type of aspersions being cast on Benjamin Crump, on Al Sharpton, in the same way that they are advocating for answers for Nolan Wells, that he has railed against the same type of characterizations going in reverse. A split mirror image of the type of vitriol that you are decrying against the survivors in this instance being spewed at Benjamin Crump and Al Sharpton. And I don't necessarily think that gets us anywhere, and it's not productive when you're talking about getting to the bottom of this and understanding what actually happened to Nolan Wells. So for me, I hope that the dialogue can be more tempered, where we're not trying to characterize people in either direction, but we're trying to insist on getting to the bottom of things and looking for the facts.
Bet you can't run it.
But nah, just in general, though, he made points. Like, it is embarrassing for him to be sitting up there saying what he's saying. It is. It's embarrassing for the community, and he know it.
It's all about two opposite points of view, but I appreciate both of y'all time. I know y'all got a lot more to say, but I know, Charles, at least in your case, you got to get on out of here. Officer Tatum, I could tell you chomping at the bit. I got a lot more to say. You know, you're always welcome back on the show. I really appreciate both of y'all taking time out of your busy schedule. I hope this was productive. I think it was a productive conversation, regardless of the disagreements and where we are right now. Still searching for the facts to really, really get to the bottom of what happened to Nolan Wells. But I thank y'all both so much, man. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Stephen A. Thanks, Charles.
All right,
take
y'all.
care, Brandon.
Wow. That was a riveting conversation, to say the least.
Now, this what I want to hear right here. This what I want to hear right here. Stephen A. Smith. This why that's my guy. But when he know right from fucking wrong, that's why I say him being himself, nobody could take that away from him. This why I fuck with him. Excuse my French. That's why I fuck with Stephen A. Smith and I fuck with Straight Shooter, dog. Shit like this. Check him out.
Tatum went to Mississippi, said he's spoken to several of the people in attendance and is appalled by folks jumping to a conclusion that this was a race issue, and clearly questioned why was Al Sharpton there giving the eulogy? Why is Benjamin Crump, a civil rights attorney, involved if indeed this was a criminal case? Charles Coleman Jr., the legal mind on this panel, clearly stated that Officer Tatum doesn't know specifically why they're involved, doesn't know specifically who they've spoken to, who they've attempted to reach out to, or whether or not their investigation is indeed finished, and had a problem with the narrative that he felt Officer Tatum was trying to create. No matter what way you slice it, here's the bottom line. An 18-year-old kid is dead, and inexplicably so. And somehow, some way, we need to get to the bottom of it. I find it very, very hard to believe that he just drowned. I find it very, very hard to believe that there was no foul play involved. Even Officer Tatum himself said there may indeed have been foul play involved. He was just challenging whether or not it was the three white kids that people say were with Nolan Wells all by their lonesome, when in fact, according to Officer Tatum, there were other people there, some of whom happened to be black. And he was making the case who's to say that those were the only people involved? Who was to say that they're not innocent after all, and it was somebody else who committed a vile act that led to Nolan Wells being deceased, his funeral having taken place just a few days ago? There is no doubt that regardless of what we want to say, the fact that Tyler Perry is involved and paid for the funeral, the fact that Spike Lee and Terrell Owens were in attendance, the fact that Benjamin Crump, a civil rights attorney, is representing the family, and Al Sharpton is giving the funeral. Let's not act like we don't know that this is being turned into a civil rights case. I don't know whether that's wrong or not, because to be quite honest with you, black kid is dead after going out with white dudes. Yeah, I got a problem with that. That picture don't look right, particularly in the state of Mississippi. I'm just going to keep it a buck and call it like that. The flip side to it is that if Officer Tatum is correct, and we have no reason at this particular moment in time to believe otherwise, if there were other people that were there, if there were 60 people on an island, if Nolan Wells was fraternizing with an abundance of other people, ended up staying behind of his own volition, that would point to an absence of guilt needing to be directed in the direction of the 3 white kids he's believed to have been in attendance with and went to the island with. So all of that stuff comes into play. We don't know. Here's the one thing that we do need to agree upon. Every exhaustive measure must be taken to get to the bottom of this, to find out why Nolan Wells is no longer with us. That much is true. Whereas we can't definitively point guilt in the direction of any specific individual at this time, we can simply say, this seems very fishy, very shady. Something happened to this kid. Let's find out what the hell happened to this kid. Let's get to the bottom of it. Terrell Owens is right about that. Spike Lee is right about that. Tyler Perry is right about that. Benjamin Crump is right about that. Charles F. Coleman Jr. is right about that. And I didn't hear Officer Tatum saying we should shut down an investigation and we shouldn't put forth a strenuous effort to find out about it. So everybody seems in agreement. Let's push forward with an investigation. Let's find out what the hell happened. Let's not designate this an accident and be gone and have no explanation whatsoever as to what happened to Nolan Wells. That is unacceptable in the year 2026. You're 18 years old, in good health, accustomed to being at home with your family. Your family says they've taught you to never depart from a group of people. And the fact that you ended up apparently doing so seems to be at odds with his upbringing, according to what his parents say. I'm not going to accuse parents who just lost their child of any kind of shady intent whatsoever. That's cruel. I'm not going to do that. But we also need to recognize we got to get to the bottom of this. We got to find out what happened. Come hell or high water. Exhaust every means and every measure. Exhausting ourselves and put whatever resources we need to put behind everything to get to the bottom of this. Because something like that simply cannot happen. And for those who are sensitive and feel like, hey, you know, the state of Mississippi is being given a bad rap just because it happened there at that locale, shouldn't mean blah, blah, blah. No, that's not how it goes. Sometimes history comes back to haunt you.
Let's
and a level
go.
of guilt is attached. And if not guilt, at the very least, suspicion and skepticism. Because so much time was spent historically favoring one race of people over others. That's what happens, which is why you should do everything you can to make sure that that's not something that ever exists when it pertains to you and the community you come from. But it is what it is. That's where we are. Let's get to the bottom of it. Let's find out what happened. I hope today's riveting conversation that you just witnessed took a step in that direction. It did for me. I hope the same for all of you watching. That's it for this special edition of Straight Shooter. courtesy of Stephen A. Smith and my Straight Shooter YouTube channel. Please continue to support the show. Please continue to click that button,
Goddamn
that
right.
like button.
Yep.
Show me the love, and I'm gonna give it right back by giving
Let's
you
go,
as much
Steve.
content, as much riveting content as I possibly can.
Let's go.
Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, Stephen A. signing off. Peace and love, Straight Shooter style.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Like I said, man. I like the way he ended that, bro.
Oh yeah, bro. That was like the nail in the coffin right there, for real.
I like the way he did that, bro. No bullshit. No bullshit. At the end of the day, he kept it real. He kept it all the way real, bro. That's it. That's how he felt. What we really need to do. He said, "This is what we really need to do, bro." He made sure at the end of the day, bro. He made sure he kept it real and said how Tyler Perry and Spike Lee and Terrell Owens, they all, even Colin Kaepernick, he invested in. He paid for the autopsy, I think, if I'm not mistaken, to come out. Their own private autopsy. I think he paid for that. Yeah, bro. Everybody want answers at the end of the day. Because something not right. And for people to say, just like Stephen A. Smith said, for people to say, oh, no, because they happened in Mississippi or whatever, it shouldn't mean nothing. No, that means a lot. Because based off the history of Mississippi, it means a lot. So these type of governed states is what we about to get to next. My bro, I'm about to pull this video up. My bro got already loaded up in the back. This is one of the most, I can say, credible people that you can fucking ask or turn to for content about what's really going on between a lot of different countries, especially ours. And that's Tucker Carlson. Tucker Carlson broke his silence on just what's America's agenda towards the Black and white communities and how they're manipulating it to go the way they got it going. Jay, you want to chime in before I pull the video up in the back?
Bro, go ahead and run it.
Let's go.
Well, I'm as far right as ever. Who writes this crap, far right? What is far right anyway?
Well, you tell me. What would have been? What would have been?
I have no idea. It means Nazi.
What would have been the appropriate introduction for Tucker Carlson?
Cultivated,
today?
handsome, erudite, irresistibly appealing to women and men in a platonic way. Just stuff like that. Normal stuff.
So you really expect a dude to introduce you like this? Stop that. Well,
look, I'm making it clear that you're not attracted to me physically, but you see the appeal that others are so obviously taken by.
We'll go with that for now. Let's get right to it, Tucker Carlson. I mean, right. you spoken out. Once upon a time you supported the president. That is no longer the case. Not to be redundant, but remind our audience why you don't seem to be as supportive of President Trump as you once were.
Well, I supported him, not only supported him, I campaigned with him and for him and spoke at the Republican National Convention and knew him for 20 years. And I defended him at Fox, for my entire time there. And I got along with him really well until about 20 minutes ago, actually until February 28th, when he launched a regime change war on behalf of Israel, with Israel, on Iran, a war that every person who was paying attention knew could not be won and that would only damage the United States. And I told him that repeatedly before he did it. And it wasn't, from my perspective, just a mistake. It was like the end of an entire moment in world history where the United States, has enough power to influence events. That's all done, I think, because of this. And I think it's going to dramatically affect the standard of living in the United States and in Western Europe, which I care about. I think it's the most disastrous decision any American president has made in my lifetime, and nothing comes close. So, it's not that I hate Trump as a person. I feel sorry for Trump. He wasn't able to make an independent decision. He's controlled by another country, but I disapprove of it, and I'm outraged on behalf of my country, which is the United States.
Well, Tucker, why does it have to be that he's controlled by another country? Why can't
it doesn't have to be that way. It shouldn't be that way. No president should ever be controlled by another country.
Just let me ask the question.
Yeah.
Why does it have to be that, as opposed to he genuinely feels this way, and this is the decision that he made, and it's just something that you don't agree with, as opposed to him being controlled by another country?
Well, I would like that to be true. It's not true. And there are a lot of people demanding that I claim that's true, but I was there, and that's not true. It's a fact that he followed Israel into this war. He said it himself, and so did his Secretary of State. And there's this frantic effort by agents of Israel to rewrite history and make us forget what just happened in February, which was the United States following the lead of Israel into a war that gravely harms the United States. That's what happened. Trump was not for this. I talked to him a lot about it. He made no case to the American public demonstrating that he was for it. He said, well, I don't want Iran to have a nuclear program. Okay, that's fair, I guess. I don't really care, but he cared. And then in last June, he said he eliminated the nuclear program. And then 6 months later, he's like, we have to go to war, and we have to kill the leader of Shia Islam because of the nuclear. It didn't make any sense. He followed Israel into this. He did this under pressure from Israel. They chose when it started. They chose the parameters of the war. And critically, they were our partner in the war. Like, literally, we went into this war with Israel. I'm not saying that because I'm a bigot or an anti-Semite or a Nazi. I'm saying this because that's what the U.S. government told us. So there has been this effort to lie about what just happened. And I've seen this a lot. I saw it with 9/11. I saw it with the Iraq War. And I'm just not going to play along again because I was there. I know what happened.
So my question would be this. He's the leader of the free world. Why does he need to follow anybody? Why is another country leading us as opposed to it being the other way around? Well, how do you explain that?
Dude, you tell me. I don't have the answer. I said this to him directly. I said this to him during the 12-day war in last June, which Israel started. And we didn't benefit from it. Obviously, we went to war again. That was the beginning of the regime change that they planned.
I know why.
Reasons. It had nothing to do with our strategic goals or our interests at all.
I know why. I know why he ain't then like doing it the way, as far as like him being influenced the way he is. It's because Israel got dirt on him. And not only do Israel got dirt on him, we're gonna get into the guy who tried to assassinate Trump, and he throwed out basically stop the FBI investigation on him. Because we're gonna have to figure out just where he was from. I'm gonna show y'all something, man. Tucker Carlson dropped a lot of Jews in this interview, y'all. It's gonna get so deep. It's gonna get so deep. But just stay with me. So right now, he's basically breaking down why Trump is being influenced by Israel so confidently. Like, why the hell is you backing them? What they got on you for you to be doing what you're doing? They got a lot on Trump. And if you ask me, I'm not going to say it right now, but I'm going to wait. But they got a lot on Trump. But let's get back to it. Run it. Spin that shit, Jay. You got something you want to add something, Jay? You want to add something?
Yeah, bro. Like, one thing about Tucker, he going to keep it real. He going to keep it authentic. And just that little part that you were saying, that he finna drop a lot of jewels, man. This is one of my favorite segments, what Stephen A did right here. He really allowed Tucker to be himself, let his hair down, and really talk about, the things that we don't see behind closed doors, especially in that White House. But let it rock, bro. Let's go.
Only hurt the United States. It killed a bunch of Americans. It's going to drive us out of the region, destroyed all of our bases on the Gulf. It's a disaster. So I told him at the time, you are being led around by the nose by Netanyahu, and everyone can see it. And, he didn't like to hear that, but it was a fact. And it remains.
What did he say to you when you told him?
Why is that?
When you said that to him, when you said those words that you just said, what did he say to you? What did you say to him? What did he say to you in response?
I think Trump, so you can picture the scene.
Yes.
Trump hates confrontation, direct confrontation, hates it, can't deal with it at all. He likes everyone to get along. He likes to tell jokes. And I like this about him. I'm not criticizing it at all. He said, oh, no, it's going to be totally fine. That's not true. And it's fine. It's going to be great. It's going to be great. And then he had someone else call and say that he was offended by it, which I understand. You know, I shouldn't have said that. I snapped. I was so frustrated. This is embarrassing. I'm an American. Whatever you think of this country, which has treated me very well, and, you know, my family's been here forever. I like America. I live here. My kids live here. This hurts America. And I don't like to see the United States humiliated because it's my country. And that's humiliating. Why are you taking orders from a country of 9 million people with no resources? And I'm not even attacking Israel. I'm attacking our leaders who today in the US Congress, right now, as we're talking, are voting to merge the US military with the IDF, the Israeli Defense Force, the group committing genocide in the Middle East. Like,
and why would we be doing that? Why would we be merging with the IDF? What would be the reason?
It's totally bonkers. I'll tell you why we're not doing it is because, like, the overwhelming majority of Americans want it. They don't. Who would want that? What's the upside for us? We're doing it because Israel wants it, and Israel controls our politics through campaign donations, at least, and maybe there are other ways that it controls our politics. But there's no debate about it now. This is not an anti-Semitic conspiracy theory. My whole life, I've watched this. My whole life, I've said nothing about it. And in a lot of ways, I was intimidated by the claim that anyone who notices is an anti-Semite. Well, I'm not an anti-Semite. I'm never going to be an anti-Semite. I abhor anti-Semitism and all forms of racism, no matter what they say. I'm not for it. So that's not my motive. My motive is it's true. And trying to bully me into saying it's not true is not going to work. Why is it happening? I don't know. And I've said this a million times in public, and I really think we need a national conversation about why the president of the United States not just hurt his country, but hurt himself and his legacy and his party and everything that he worked all these years to build, trying to stay out of prison and almost murdered by a gunman and butler, all the drama that he went through, all thrown away because now he's the president that led us into a war that we cannot win. We cannot win the war. And by the way, if we can win the war, tell me how. Is there a military means by which we open the Strait of Hormuz? No. And if there was, we would have used it.
What about the notion that you're keeping Iran from capturing a nuclear weapon? That would be their argument. That's what they would say. That's what he's been saying. That's what his supporters have been saying. Iran, remember, he told us, you're absolutely right. Initially, they bombed them last June, and they talked about we've obliterated them, we're good. And then a few months later, he bombs them again because supposedly they're a month away from having a nuclear weapon, and we have to stop that at all costs. Even now, they'll say you don't want Iran to capture a nuclear weapon. There's plenty of conservatives walking around throughout the country that don't know things nearly as intimately as you do, and that's the excuse that they use. Well, we've got to keep Iran from capturing a nuclear weapon. That's why Trump is doing what he's doing. What do you say to that?
I mean, it's sad and insulting, and no one who thinks about it for more than 3 minutes believes it. If there was ever a time when Iran has to get a nuclear weapon, it's now, because we just proved what happens when you don't have a nuclear weapon. When you have a nuclear weapon and you're North Korea, a Stalinist slave state, we leave you alone. No one's arguing for an invasion of North Korea on the basis of human rights. You know, they're mean to their people. They throw them in concentration camps. They don't have free speech. They don't have democracy. We need to invade. No one's saying that because North Korea, unlike Iran, has nuclear weapons. So you can't be messed with when you have nuclear weapons. So what's the incentive for every nation on the freaking planet is to get nuclear weapons as soon as possible, or else get regime changed by the United States. Nuclear weapons means other countries have to respect you. Therefore, we have just set in motion an irresistible incentive to get nuclear weapons, and Iran will have them at some point. They'll buy them from Pakistan, which is what North Korea did, or they'll create them on their own. They have the technological know-how, obviously. But once you kill the 87-year-old religious leader of their religion, once you murder the Shiite Pope, which we did, you ensure that there is a generational conflict that our grandkids are going to have to deal with. We haven't had a lot of terror attacks in the United States, despite what the liars tell you. We haven't. We're separated by an ocean. We've done a pretty good job of not having those. We're going to have them now. And they are a result of what the Trump administration just did at the behest of Israel. So this doesn't make us safer. And anyone who thinks it does, I feel sorry for. You've lost your capacity for thinking independently. Mm-hmm. But any normal person of any party is like, wait, how does this make us safer? No, this imperils us. It impoverishes us. It diminishes our power, makes us more vulnerable, obviously. And I said this to Trump, and he didn't disagree, but he did it anyway.
He didn't disagree, but he did it anyway. You know,
yes,
I'm going to get back to that. I'm going to get back to the Islamic contingent
about
it, but I'm going to go back to the Jewish contingent in this regard. Anyway. I want to, because you.
Yeah, he didn't disagree, but he did it anyway. at the end of the day, that's enough to say, like, I know this gonna mess up a lot of people's lives, but this is something that I have to do because I'm forced to do it. That's like as if you're being manipulated to do something that you know is gonna harm our people, but you have no choice. So why you don't have that choice? It could be something within the Epstein files. It could be something that they know that they got on Trump as far as they can get to him because of they got agents, they got underground people like that can assassinate Trump and have somebody new in office in no time. And they got other Israeli officials that'll make sure they back it and not make sure the blame be on them. Because if you ask me, I think the kid that was up on that roof that tried to kill Trump was sent by the Israelis and he was told to miss. And they still killed him, but they dropped the whole investigation and come to find out he was in the army in Israel and he was a long-range shooter. Let Tucker Carlson keep talking and he's going to drop some more Jews. It's coming, but that's my opinion. But check this out. Let's go, Jay.
Point to point out, you don't engage in anti-Semitism. You don't support it. You don't believe it. You don't believe you're a part of it, et cetera, et cetera. When people talk about some of the things that you said, I wanted some controversial comments that you've made in regards to the Gaza war.
Right.
You called Israel's actions genocide, ethnic cleansing, murder of thousands of children, and a land grab. You described it as losing morality, treating Arabs, quote, like animals or subhumans, end quote, and incompatible with Western civilization values. You visited Gaza refugees and highlighted child casualties. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that, by the way. But I would ask you...
No, that sounds like Nazi behavior, like worrying about children who are injured. I mean,
exactly.
First of all,
that's why,
everything
that's
you
why people
just
say that. I say, what are y'all talking about? I'm sorry, go ahead. Go ahead, I apologize. Go ahead.
It's a slander. Look, if you're committing genocide, which Israel currently is in Gaza, and genocide is, you know, we have an international definition of it, which everyone signed on to up until about 20 minutes, until Israel started committing it. And it is the systematic effort by a government to eliminate a people. And I don't have to guess about this because Israeli cabinet ministers and the prime minister of Israel repeatedly have said that's their goal. They describe the Palestinians as Amalek. I'll refer you to the Old Testament or Hebrew scriptures, whatever you want to call it, our Bible and theirs, in which Amalek is the Amalekites. And that's the group that God tells the ancient Hebrews to kill, all of them, including their children, their babies, and their livestock. And the prime minister, Benjamin Netanyahu, has used this phrase multiple times, not just randomly once, again and again and again in speeches. And so have his cabinet ministers, the finance minister, the defense minister. Mm-hmm. They've all said the point is we have to kill all these people and drive them out. Well, that is the definition of genocide. Don't take my word for it. Israeli human rights groups are calling it genocide. The rest of the world is calling it genocide. Mm-hmm. The prime minister has been indicted in international court for genocide. There's no debate about whether it's genocide. The debate is, why are we going along with this and allowing people who are committing genocide to give us moral lectures? Like, I'm not the criminal for noticing what you're doing. And I'm not going to take a moral lecture from Adolf Eichmann. Why would I? This is crazy. And by the way, future generations will realize that it's crazy. So crazy, it's going to be hard to believe it happened.
So how would you answer the question if somebody would have asked Tucker Carlson, is your issue with the Jewish community? Is it with Israel? Is it specifically with Benjamin Netanyahu? I mean, who's the issue with? Because that's somebody that you've described
it's
as
it's not a mystery. I've said it out loud. By the way, you know, I hate even to go there because it's so low. It's playing their game, but it's also a fact that I have a lot of Jewish friends and Jewish guests on the show making exactly the same points. The idea that the government of Benjamin Netanyahu speaks for all Jews on planet Earth is a lie. It's a lie that's going to do grave damage to Jews. I don't know why people go along with this. If some lunatic stood up, some lunatic white person said, I speak for all whites, I would say, you don't speak for me. If Louis Farrakhan stands up and says, I speak for all black people, I hope you're like, no, not for me. Like, this idea that some politician in a foreign country gets to speak for global Jewry is insane. I'm not playing along with it. But here's the point. They are committing genocide. The lessons that I learned I'm 57, as a child growing up in America, were really clear. Genocide is always wrong. The Nazis did it. That's why we don't like the Nazis. The Hutus in Rwanda did it. I mean, the Turks did it. The Ottoman Turks did it against the Armenians. It's always wrong. And the person committing genocide doesn't get to attack me on moral grounds for pointing it out. This is crazy. And everyone else sees it. Only in the United States are we like, well, are you an anti-Semite because you don't like genocide? No, I'm a human being. I'm against it when it was aimed at Jews. I'm against it when Bibi Netanyahu does it. I'm against it when the Hutus do it. I'm just against it because it's immoral. And if we can't say that genocide's immoral, where does that leave us? And why are we paying for this? That's the other thing. It's not just some academic, like, are you for genocide? Well, obviously I'm opposed. I'm opposed to killing innocents, always, including bombing girls' schools in Iran.
As most decent people should be against killing innocents, without
all
question.
Decent people. But
that's right.
If you're doing that, again, I'm not taking a moral lecture from someone who's committing genocide, and none of us should. And through aggression and intimidation, they've scared the living crap out of everyone in the American media, apparently including you, into this place where it's like,
what do you mean apparently including me? Why is it including me?
I'll tell you why. Because the fact you're asking it when the facts about what the Israeli government have done in Gaza are transparent, widely known, provable. You can use only Israeli sources for those facts and still arrive at the same conclusion Israelis have arrived at.
Tucker Carlson,
it's genocide.
Let me put you on pause for 1 second when it comes to me, sir. Most people in my audience may not have heard what you had to say. I want them to hear from you. So I'm just asking. Oh, no, nobody's got me hoodwinked. I'm literally asking because I literally want to hear. Like there's several things that you may have brought up that I may not have heard. I may be hearing you say for the first time because I don't get a chance to watch you all the time. That's all it is.
But it's
I want you to know that.
Crazy. No, but it's not just me. I mean, by the way, I should say I spent 35 years never saying anything about Israel. Okay. So it's not like I'm some courageous voice who's bringing this to the world's attention. This has been going on for a very long time, since 1948, to varying degrees. And for the last 3 years, it's been going on at a pace that's impossible to ignore. And only in the United States, I just want to say it again, only in the United States and Israel is this not a majority view widely known by everybody. They've killed tens of thousands of children. They have killed scores of journalists, over 100 journalists. They bombed churches and hospitals. They bombed and destroyed all civilian infrastructure, and they're driving people out, and they're saying it. They're saying it out loud. What? And because of YouTube, we can actually watch this now. And it's like, oh, there's an Israeli official saying we're going to put them in concentration camps. And it's like, the United States could stop this. It's the only country on the planet that could stop it because we're paying for it. And I'm not even mad at the Israelis. I think they've gone insane. I think they will be punished for what they're doing in the same way the Germans were punished for what they did, in exactly the same way. Because
are you talking about the government or are you talking about the people? Are you talking about the government or are you talking about the people?
I'm talking about, I'll be specific. I'm talking about the government ministers who ordered this. I'm talking about the people who carried it out, the good Israelis who are committing genocide. And in some sense, they're victims as well. And I feel sorry for all of them because you can't lie your way out of 75,000 dead bodies. Okay, you just can't. There's no getting around that. You did it. Everyone saw you do it. So they're going to be punished. I'm outraged at American officials for paying for this and for attacking anybody who says, wait a second, why are we paying for genocide? I thought we were against genocide. We have got a Holocaust museum in my town that says genocide is bad. Is it not bad now? And they're like, shut up, Nazi. And it's like, no, I'm against the Nazis because I'm against genocide. But here you're committing it. So I'm against what you're doing. This is, it doesn't.
Is this about just Trump, or is it about specific individuals within his administration that has an alarming level of influence that we need to know about as well?
So that's like a question I've thought so much about. In other words, who was pushing Trump to do something insane?
There you go.
Right. And, obviously Rubio, the Secretary of State, is for it, obviously. I don't think he was pushing that. I mean, I don't work there, so I was there a lot, but I'm certainly not an employee and never have been. So there's a lot I miss. I can't really answer the question, but my sense is that no one inside the White House was like, pushing Trump's arm behind his back and saying, you've got to regime change Iran. I think it came from the outside. I think it came from outside advisors and Miriam Adelson, the widow of Sheldon Adelson, gambling magnate. I think.
You heard him out. We about to get into some Jews, but he said a lot. He said a lot. And he got a lot more to say. He said a lot as far as like why we're in this war, how him being influenced by others to even be in this war. Like a Carlson dropping Jews right now, man. He's a person that's to President Trump, his opinion matters. You know what I mean? His opinion matters. So I feel like his opinion mattered to me too. But that'll be for any president coming out of the conservative, if you ask me, because he's that deep into it and he knows just what's right and what's wrong. And he's addressing it and he ain't afraid to say and speak his mind. He's not. So, and we're going to get into that too, because I think Stephen A. going to try to like secretly get his location. He going to tell Stephen A. Yeah, no, man. I'm in a dungeon like hundreds of feet underground.
Yeah, that part that was funny.
Came from Rupert Murdoch, the owner of Fox and the Wall Street Journal and New York Post, who called all the time demanding this. I think people out. That's what I think, and I think there might also be other reasons that he did this. Joe Kent, who ran the National Counterterrorism Center, said out loud when he resigned, and he would know, that he believed the Butler shooting was connected to Trump's move against Iran. Now, look, I can't prove that, but here's one of our top intel officials making that claim. Where's the New York Times following up on that? Not one American news organization has made any attempt to find out what the hell this was, because they all support it. They all support it. They support this war. And that's why there has been no mass movement against it. People are like, oh, I'm against the war. Really? Well, where are the protests? I remember the Iraq war. I was there, both in Washington and Iraq. There were massive protests. Now, at the time, I was shilling for the for the Bush administration. Be like, no, it's a good idea to invade Iraq. I was completely wrong. And I've been humiliated ever since. But I did notice that the other side had demonstrations. Where are those demonstrations now? There are none, because both parties are in favor of this. That's why.
Do you believe that this has been an impeachable offense by the president of the United States? And if so, what do you believe should happen to him in regards to these actions that he has taken?
I think this is the one thing that Trump has done that he will never be impeached for, because Democrats support it. Both parties supported regime change in Iran because both parties have the same paymasters and the same donors who are demanding loyalty to a foreign country. The same AIPAC donations that think 90% of the entire Congress takes money from a foreign lobby, unregistered foreign lobby. That's bonkers. If this were Liechtenstein or Congo bribing 90% of our lawmakers to toe the Liechtenstein or Congo line, I'd be totally opposed to it. It doesn't make me anti-Congolese or anti-Liechtensteinian. I'm not a racist for thinking that. I'm an American who wants my lawmakers to vote on behalf of my country. It's that simple. It's literally that simple. And everybody sees it, except the American media, which lies because it's controlled, and American lawmakers, politicians, who are paid to lie. But now the consequences of it are getting so crazy. We're running out of oil. Trump said that last month. We're weeks away from draining the SPR. We have no cushion on oil. And so at some point, they're manipulating markets now. Obviously, the markets are totally manipulated. But at some point, supply and demand does become real. And if you don't have enough oil, the price goes up. And when the price goes up, so does the price of everything. And you get inflation. And people get really poor. And that's going to happen.
Tucker Carlson right here with Stephen A. Straight shooter with yours truly. I'm wondering right now, you're a life. I mean, you've stated, correct me if I'm wrong, that you voted Republican pretty much all your life, that you've disassociated, disconnected from the Republican Party, but it's not like you're about to vote for the Democrats either. I'm wondering how you feel right now as somebody who's confessed to being so wrong about the president, and more specifically, what I'm really wondering about with what Trump is doing. That's not something Obama did. It's not something that George W. Bush did. I'm wondering, this president decided to take this action. Where are you now in terms of viewing him compared to the Democrats, in light of the fact this is not something that they've done, but yet it's something that he has done?
Well, it's something to some extent all American presidents have done since John F. Kennedy was murdered, which is follow the lead of a foreign country, Israel. So George W. Bush did do it. He took us into a regime change war against Iraq at the urging of Benjamin Netanyahu. I was there. So that's why we did that.
That's true.
Joe Biden funded the genocide of Gaza. And by the way, there, to his credit, there were a lot of people in the Democratic Party who were very mad about that and attacked Biden for that. Good for them. I didn't say a word. I was kind of not even aware it was happening, but that was happening, and they deserve credit for being honest and decent enough to oppose genocide. So every president has been bossed around by this tiny country. Bill Clinton got blackmailed by Israel over Monica Lewinsky. They had a tape of him having phone sex on Air Force One with Monica Lewinsky, and they told him they had it unless he took their side in the Wye River negotiation. So
that they always say
Tucker
Clinton was
Carlson
half
dropping
black, bro.
Oh shit, my fault, Jay. Look, Tucker Carlson be dropping Jews, man. What he said? What?
That boy said he was on the phone making love, boy. that's deep, and it's 2026, and not no one has dropped that type of information. I can only imagine what else he knows.
He said it was part of the reason why he had, I want to say, George Bush. He said the regime war, whatever. Like that's how we went to war with Iraq the first time. He said Joe Biden did it. He funded the genocide. The press was mad at him behind that. That was like basically Israel, like, you know. And then he said even Bill Clinton, they had tape recording. So if they're doing that and they can cover that like that, right? Point I'm making is what they got on Trump. And Trump probably didn't fold that first, but then they had an attempt on his life, but they told the shooter, make sure you miss. The skin is ill. The dude was a and then Trump told them, the FBI and everybody dropped the whole investigations into that. He didn't want, look, it's over. Y'all killed him on the top of the thing. It's over. But come and find out, that kid who was at the top of that man rather, who was at the top of that building who shot, you know what I'm saying? He was a long range sniper, supposedly for the Israel government, supposedly. And that was a wake up call for Trump to do what we want you to do, or we'll kill you. We'll get you assassinated. So that's my prediction on that. Let's go, Jay.
This has been going on a long time, but Trump just did something that's like quantum levels crazier and more destructive to the U.S.
Wait, run it back. Run it back. We got to hear him say that again. Run it back.
And no one I know, including people
that
all American presidents have done since John F. Kennedy was murdered, which is follow the lead of a foreign country, Israel. So George W. Bush did do it. He took us into a regime change war against Iraq at the urging of Benjamin Netanyahu. I was there. So that's why we did that.
That's true.
Joe Biden funded the genocide of Gaza. And by the way, there, to his credit, you know, there were a lot of people in the Democratic Party who were very mad about that and attacked Biden for that. Good for them. I didn't say a word. I was kind of not even aware it was happening, but that was happening, and they deserve credit for being honest and decent enough to oppose genocide. So every president has been bossed around by this tiny country. Bill Clinton got blackmailed by Israel over Monica Lewinsky. They had a tape of him having phone sex on Air Force One with Monica Lewinsky, and they told him they had it and said they were going to release it unless he took their side in the Wye River negotiation. So like, this has been going on a long time, but Trump just did something that's like quantum levels crazier and more destructive to the US, which is this war. How do you get out of this war? I don't see, and no one I know, including people who work at the White House and at the Pentagon, if you ask that question, like, how do we get out of this? They have no idea. So I'm really worried about it. I know I'm hated and called a Nazi for being against it, but it's bad enough that it's worth it to say it, I think.
Tucker Carlson, in 2021, you probably wrote that you hated Trump passionately. You later supported him in 2024. So here's the question. Why should listeners see this latest break as principle rather than another pivot on your side, on your part? How do you answer that?
Well, I've had many pivots, and I've already explained two of them. You know, I was wrong.
Yes, you have.
Because I'm wrong a lot, you know, I guess. I mean, I flatter myself and say I'm not wrong a lot, but I certainly am wrong sometimes, and wrong on big things. I was wrong on Trump, and I was wrong on the Iraq war. And I'm sure a million other things. But anyway, I mean, I don't know what to say. People can judge whether I'm sincere or not. I don't really know what I'm getting out of this, actually. I've gotten really nothing out of any of it. And I'm not going to whine and say I've lost a lot, but some, including friendships. So I don't really know what my motive would be, but if I can't convince people, I can't. But I'm just telling you, I happen to be there. and pretty close and saw a lot of stuff that is like so bad for this country. It's such a total betrayal. Now, I would just say quickly that, yeah, I got mad at Trump in a private text message, which Fox stole from me and sent to the New York Times. Like, that's a whole nother story, kind of crazy. But I wrote that to one of my producers because Trump had made me mad in 2001, right after the election. Okay, I get, I've been mad at people I love. But I decided that Trump was the option to the Republican leadership and the Democratic leadership. He wasn't a Republican. He was a challenge to the Republicans. He came from outside the system. This was how I thought of it. And as they tried to put him in jail and shoot him and all this stuff, I was like, see, it's totally real. It's not a fake thing. I mean, they're trying to put him in jail. That's what I thought. And I still kind of think that. But somewhere along the line, after that Butler shooting in Pennsylvania in July of 2024, he changed like 180 degrees. He started doing things that he ran against doing. And so, like, you tell me what that is. I don't know. I don't think Trump's a great actor. I don't think he was lying before. I think something changed him.
Something changed for him after the
What
Butler
it
shooting.
was.
You
You
just
know what
think
it
it's
was?
just that simple. You don't have
Well, I don't
any
know if
idea
it's
what it
that
is.
simple.
Okay, but you have
I
no
don't
idea
know
what it
if
is.
anything's simple. Well, let me tell you what I do know. No, I don't. Just to be clear, I don't know. And if I did, I would say it instantly. I know that Trump shut down the investigation into the Butler shooting. It doesn't make any sense. There's a lot of material that the FBI gathered into Thomas Crooks, who he was talking to on his burner phone, who he was talking to online, who he trained with at the range. They have tape of that. They've not released any of it. And I pushed them really hard. The FBI director, the deputy director, the guy in charge of the investigation, I talked to them all. Why can't we see this information? And they wouldn't answer the question. Turns out Trump told them not to release it, to shut down the investigation. He's a lone gunman. He's dead. We don't need to know anymore. Okay, then why can't I see the information that you gathered? Did he have contact with law enforcement before the shooting? Why can't you answer that question? And instead they yelled at me and called me names. The Trump people did. And I was like, if that's your response, then I think, like, I've got a bunch of kids. And if I say, hey, what are you doing? And they're like, shut up, racist. I'm like, I'm pretty sure you're doing something wrong then, if you're attacking me for asking. Like, it's just a tell. And so that's all I know. But I can't think of a non-sinister reason for Trump to shut down an investigation into his own attempted murder. Maybe you can, but I can't. I think it's one of the weirdest things I've ever seen in my life. And I know that at that moment, he started assembling, right after that, he started assembling his transition team. And I was really close to that. I knew everyone on it. And all of a sudden, these people are like, wait a second, with this guy, why would we appoint John Ratcliffe to CIA when he's the opposite of what you're running on? Like, John Ratcliffe is the opposite of what you're promising voters. Why would you do that? And I noticed this stuff and I was like, this is very odd. But I didn't kind of put it together because I'm not a genius. And then by the time we got to Iran, I was like, oh, wait a second. I think this whole thing's been in progress for a long time. And the point is not to eliminate Iran's nuclear program. Nobody cares. The point is to reshuffle the deck globally and to diminish the Gulf states, to get the United States out of the Middle East, I think to end the petrodollar, to crush Europe. Like, there are big things going on. And the rest of us are so caught up in whatever BS crap the media is putting on here, we don't see it. But I'm just telling you, in 5 years, it's going to be a different world. I hope a better world, but it's going to be a different world.
You've got a lot of people connected with Israel. You got a lot of people who are, who look at Benjamin Netanyahu and let's just say they don't view him the way that you do. They point to your relationships in the Middle East. They talk about Qatar. They talk about you having a home in Doha, stuff like that. Talk about that for a second, whatever level of legitimacy may come attached to those who are.
I mean, I hate defending myself. I mean, it's just, these are people who are taking money and direction from a foreign government accusing me of the same. And the truth is, I don't have a home in Doha. I don't own anything in Doha. I've never taken money from the Qataris or any other government. I don't even have a bank loan. I have no investors. I have no debt. My opinions, you may not like them, but they're mine because I have no control over me at all. And I own my company with my college roommate. So that's the extent of my financial life. Whatever. But you know what? I would say this. Qatar, I love Qatar. I really like Qatar. And the Israelis like Qatar too, which is why Benjamin Netanyahu asked the Qatari government to send money to Hamas. I'm not guessing. You can look it up. So it was actually Netanyahu who asked Qatar to send money to Hamas. Now they're like attacking the Qataris for being a tool of Hamas. The whole thing is so dishonest, I can't deal with it. But even if I were like being bribed by Qatar to, I don't know what Qatar bribes people to do, even if that were true, you'd still have to contend with like, well, I don't know, is what he's saying true? Is the Iran war going well? Is it in America's interest? Did the administration say we're following Israel? They did. Is genocide being committed in Gaza? Of course, objectively. The numbers are there. Go on Wikipedia. And so it's like, it doesn't even matter. Yeah, they attack me as a person. I'm a bad person. I'm a Nazi. Okay, well, I'm not at all. But even if I were, it wouldn't change the fact that you're committing genocide and this war is hurting my country. Like, right?
So since the country is so hurt and we've got a two-party, a binary system, Democrats, Republicans, you are not for either side. Obviously, you've been talking about a third party, but your thoughts about that at this particular moment in time, is that even remotely plausible? And if so, I mean, where do we go from here, Tucker Carlson, based on everything you're telling us about the state of this country right now and how both parties are a bit shady, to say the least? Where do we go from here?
Well, it's not even that they're totally shady, of course, but they're in agreement on the big issues. And the big issues, just to restate, are the economy and foreign policy. That's where all the money is spent. How do we apportion the spoils in our system? Like, who gets rich in America? That's the economy. And foreign policy is, who do we bomb? Where do we send money? We have a military that consumes like 80% of our discretionary budget. Okay, it's $1.5 trillion a year in funding. So what we do with the military really, really matters. The trans stuff, I think it's meaningful. It's crazy, but that's not the pressing issue. The parties disagree on trans. Ooh, I'm for trans, you're against trans. Okay, great. But on the big questions, they're aligned. They are on the same page. Chuck Schumer agrees with Donald Trump and Trump with Schumer on the tax code. Whatever they say, they agree on the tax code and they agree on the Iran war. So all I'm saying is it'd be nice to have an option. Like, someone should have a party for like the rest of us, because most Americans don't agree with the tax code and don't agree with the Iran war. So where's their representation? Now, what am I going to do about it? I was waiting for you to run. So a lot of us are just kind of sitting here being like, where's Stephen A? Is he getting in the race? But if you don't get in, it's like there just should be a real option. Because otherwise it's not democracy. It's an oligarchy posing, like painted. It's actually like a trans oligarchy. It's like an oligarchy pretending, no, I'm a democracy. It's got like big red lipstick misapplied and a wig. It's like, it's too fake. I can't deal with it.
So let's play the game, Tucker Carlson. If not me, somebody else, or me. If I'm running for president or somebody like me is running for president, what does Tucker Carlson want from the candidate himself that could end up in the presidency? What would you want from us that you haven't gotten from either party?
I'd want what everyone wants from his or her leaders, what kids want from their dads, what employees want from their bosses, what soldiers want from officers, which is love, concern. That's it. I mean, a lot of these problems are complicated, but you're never going to fix them unless you begin with a desire to help and uplift the people you're in charge of. It's that simple. And if you're having wars with Iran or letting 100,000 Americans die of drug ODs and doing nothing about the drug cartels, it's pretty obvious you don't care about Americans. And so there are lots of potential solutions to these problems, and I'm happy to debate them. But we can't even get there until we get leaders who sincerely care about their people. And we don't have that. It's obvious. It couldn't be more obvious. Oh, we're going to let the Epstein files become public. No, we're not. Shut up. Stop asking. Shut up, conspiracy theorist. It's like, what? You obviously hate me. You have contempt for me. And they do. And I would know, since I spent my life around them. I'm just talking about Trump. I mean, our leadership class. So we can't have that. We need people who have a sincere love, not of the country, but of the people who live in the country, the citizenry, the Americans. And we don't have that. And so that's really the first thing I'm looking for. It's not some magic. How do you fix Social Security? I don't even know. I don't know. It's too complicated. How do you fix schools? I have some ideas, but no one is even trying. Education in America is a freaking joke. Like, it's a joke. You can't send your kids to a public school in a big city or even in a small city. They're terrible. And only people have no choice do it. Is there an effort to fix that? No, none, zero. So like, all I want is to see that someone cares. And most people I know feel that way. Like, they're sort of post ideology. I don't know the right answer, but I know you don't care at all about finding it. And so up yours, get out of here, leave. That's how I feel.
listen, I can't deny what you're saying, but the flip side to it is that you're simplifying it. One would easily argue, you know, when people have heard you talk in the past, whether it's about immigration, whether it's about race, it's about demographics in this country or whatever, they may not share your point of view. A matter of fact, some people may be put off by some of the things they may have that have been put out there about you. But again, we don't know how accurate it is. I guess what I'm asking you is, when you think about this country, what's your ideal of a perfect America? Because a lot of times, I got to tell you, I'm not going to say you, because I haven't seen much of you, even though I used to try to watch you on Fox News a lot more than I see you right now on YouTube and stuff like that. I'm just a busy guy talking. What can I say? But I when people talk about you, they feel like, listen, nationalist point of view, America first, last, and only, for the most part, until the latest stuff with Israel has come about. And there's a lot of folks demographically in this country that wonder whether or not you vibe and your thinking, your vision for this country vibes with what they would like for this country. Talk about that for a second here.
I would say nationalist, America first. I mean, there's literally no other acceptable way to run a country. So if I've got kids and I'm like, I like the neighbor's kids more than my own, I'm a bad father. Okay. So the only justifiable position in a democracy is put the country first. Like, what's the point? Who owns the country? Well, its citizens own the country. Therefore, this whole enterprise, this whole thing is being done on their behalf. So if I don't put my own country first or put another country first, by definition, I'm committing treason, which they are. So it's not about Israel. It can't, once again, it could be Uruguay. It doesn't matter. You have to protect your people. Nobody disagrees with that, by the way. As for the race stuff, there has been this concerted effort to convince non-whites that whites are the problem. Whites are bad. Whiteness is bad. We hate whites. And to foment,
right, here we go.
to foment hatred
out,
between the races. Now, why?
You about to hit home big time, man. This big right here, what he about to get into. Hate the whites, hate the whites. Hate the blacks, hate the blacks. White fatigue, black fatigue. You about to see just the agenda of it. Tucker Carlson about to break it down, y'all. This is a deep part. You want to join in, Jay? Check this out, man.
Have they tried to do that? Why would you ever do that? Which they have definitely done at, you know, kind of scale for 60 years. Well, because when you're busy feeding your neighbors,
we've been waiting on. Let's go.
They're busy looting your country, which they have done. So it's a diversion tactic. And the truth is, if you say what I just said to the majority of Americans of any color, they're like, well, of course that's right. Like, what's the purpose of having a government if it's not there to help you? Like, what? Then why do we have it? It's to help Bibi? Like, what are you even talking about? Of course you're a nationalist. Of course you're an America first and only. Doesn't mean you hate other countries. Like, I'm not for bombing other countries most of the time, unless they're bombing us. So, like, I'm not against other countries. And by the way, I've been to almost every country on the planet, and I like them all. So it's not that. It's like, why do you have a government? It's to look out for you and your interests. That's why you pay taxes. This whole conversation is like bonkers. But the race stuff is the most upsetting. And what you see when you really drill down, because it divides people permanently. The Democratic Party has spent 60 years telling non-white voters that whites are the problem and that whites hate them because they're not white. That's a freaking lie, dude. That's a lie.
Okay, but what about,
and a lot of black people believe it?
But Tucker, as a black man, what about from an historical perspective, looking at slavery, looking at Jim Crow laws, looking at the iniquitous acts of a white populace that existed in this country, and simply acknowledging, look, that happened, that existed, and we could never come close to letting something like that happen again, policy or otherwise. What's wrong with doing that?
Well, it is happening again.
What I mean is it divisive? Is what
divisive? Yeah. Jim Crow is happening again at a larger scale.
Yes, it is.
We have more racial quotas now against whites than we ever had against blacks in the South. And in federal contracting and college admissions, in hiring in private companies and public companies. It's like, how about the government treats everybody the same? That's the lesson of the civil rights movement. Let's treat everyone the same.
Stay right there. What if I said to you, Tucker, you got a 50-yard head start? And guess what? You've been operating at a 50-yard head start for a lengthy period of time. And in order to equal the playing field, I've got to get a head start to be able to catch up to you. Because essentially, that's what you have a black populace or a minority populace in this country articulating to some degree anyway. I understand your point.
I have the numbers on that. So
two wrongs don't make a right.
Right. Okay.
I'm saying two wrongs don't make a right. I get that part. But if you're talking about, see, there's a lot of folks within this country that are of that mindset, and I respectfully disagree. But the key word is respectfully, because I understand where you're coming from. I'm just simply saying, if you've been operating as a society, as a community, with a head start for a lengthy period of time, how is the playing field ever supposed to be equaled if we were never given a come up? I mean, at some point in time, that premise has to be addressed, does it not?
Right. I mean, look, I would say, I think it's really important to articulate why racial discrimination is bad. And because it's bad, it's always bad, no matter who commits it, period.
Okay.
Period. Mm-hmm. It's inherently bad to judge people and to punish people on the basis of their skin color. Do you agree with that?
I agree with that. I agree with that.
Oh, you do agree with
what
that?
I'm saying.
Okay, then
I totally agree.
Okay, well, then
we're
done.
I'm not disagreeing. No, I'm not disagreeing. I'm simply pointing out that, again, if the objective is to have a fair and equitable society for all, how is that supposed to be accomplished if folks are operating from behind the 8 ball because of years of laws, policies and things that subjugated a community in this country? How is that supposed to ever happen?
That people whose ancestors were dragged here against their will in slavery are at a disadvantage. However, I think it's a lot more complicated than you're saying. I think that does hurt people generationally. Clearly it does. However, the idea that it's all whites are racist, then you tell me why whites, and you can check the Department of Labor stats on this if you want, they're on the internet. Whites are like, I don't know, 5th or 6th for income in the United States. So white people are not the rich people. Nigerians, your average Nigerian in the United States makes more than your average white. So tell me if there's this like system. So I guess what I'm also saying is that like this country has become so genuinely diverse. Like when I was a kid, it was black people, white people, some Hispanics, very few Asians, and really no one else. And the black people, their families have been here as long as mine, hundreds of years. I mean, their families were dragged here in colonial times, some of them. So that was a different picture than what we're looking at now. Now we're going to get to a place by the time, if in a couple more decades, where the majority of black people in the United States are not the descendant of American slaves. So then it's like, so do we owe affirmative action to an Eritrean when he arrives on a visa program? I don't think so. So like this whole thing is nuts, actually. So the only solution is to say slavery is always wrong. Discrimination on the basis of race is always wrong. And so let's stop doing it because it's wrong. It'd be like saying, and they do say it, well, you know, a lot of people who survived the Nazi genocide moved to Israel and their grandchildren, you know, have a right to be upset about that. Okay, got it. But those same people are committing genocide. So it was wrong when it happened to their grandparents. It's wrong when they're doing it because it's just wrong. There are universal principles that if we don't defend, we will wind up in the world that we left when we started this country, which is the powerful people get to do whatever they want and everyone else has to just deal with it. And I don't want to live in that country.
I agree with you when you say there's universal principles that we should just uphold, and that obviously, you know, there are things that are iniquitous acts that we should absolutely speak against, no matter who it's for or against. Absolutely, I'm totally with you.
Exactly.
The flip side to it, the flip side to it, however, is that one could easily also argue that lets off the hook those who have benefited and have positioned themselves to be in positions of power and influence where they can subjugate a vast majority of folks in our society, as we've witnessed people doing for decades upon decades. You can make the argument that they're already at an advantage and they're getting left off the hook by doing exactly what Tucker Carlson suggests, because what you want to do is start with a clean slate and just erase all that has happened. I don't mean literally erase it from the mind's eye. I'm just talking about starting from scratch and going forward when we can never start from scratch going forward. Tucker Carlson, you know that.
But yeah, I mean, look, this has been going on for over 60 years. I don't think it's actually helped that much. It's made people hate each other, but it's also obscuring the true crisis in the country, which has nothing to do with race and has to do with economics. And the people benefiting from the private equity scams and the crypto scams and all the other scams underway in the American economy, we don't really produce anything. We just lend money at high interest, sell real estate again and again. Those people are getting richer than everyone else, the billionaire class, and they don't want to deal with questions about how exactly this works. Why are they paying half the taxes that you're paying as a wage earner? Like, I don't really get that. And they don't want to have to defend it. So instead, they're like, the real problem is race. And these whites are just bad. And they've taken all the stuff. Well, actually, if you look at the numbers, that's insane. one of the biggest groups of poor people in this country is white. Are they privileged? I don't think they are. So like, it's not about race. We should treat all American citizens equally. That's the whole point of the civil rights movement. That's the whole point of the Constitution. And we're not, and we should. And then just say, look, it's not about ignoring the crimes of the past, which we should not do. Okay. We should never lie about anything. It's just about being honest about what's actually happening. And the real problems stem from the way our tax code is structured. And most people don't even think about it because no one in the media ever talks about it. It's like, really? So if I invest money, I pay half the tax rate as if I go to work? So are we saying that it's twice as virtuous to invest or to get inherited money as it is to have a job? That's what we are saying, because we tax things we want to discourage. That's why cigarettes are expensive. So like, are you really going to say with a straight face that you're like twice as good a person because you inherited money as I am because I go to work every day? Because that's what we're saying. Right. And so in a normal country, you just like have a revolution. People are like, I'm not putting up with this. But in our country, because every conversation is controlled by the media filter, we don't even know what's happening. And so people are like, well, my life sucks. It must be the whites, or some whites are like, it must be the blacks or whatever. It's like, this is racial foment. This is racial conflict, which is created by the people who are taking all the money.
Whether anyone agrees or disagrees with you, I think, especially me sitting here talking to you, I really, really appreciate the fact that you're willing to tackle any issue, and I'm thankful for that. So thank you for the conversation. Let me ask you this, just a few more questions before I let you go. I'm thinking about the Nick Fuentes interview, for example, and I wanted to transition a little bit to this because, you know, I'm wondering about where the line is between exposing extremism and normalizing it when you have somebody like him that you had on your show. I remember people were criticizing you. I didn't watch the interview. I saw, you know, clips of it, but I didn't watch the whole interview in its entirety. And I remember people accusing you of being quite soft on them, even though I can't imagine you being that guy, but that's what they were accusing you of. And they were saying stuff like that. But we know some of the things that people have felt he said and some of the positions that he has taken. From a generic perspective, extremism compared to normalization, where does Tucker Carlson draw that line in the sand, particularly considering the position that you're in now and the kind of influence you wield?
I think it's really important not to normalize extremism and to call it out by name and to say, to just frame this correctly, like what you're saying is crazy and extreme. I think it's super important to say that, because otherwise it's like, oh no, this is normal. And I think one of the most extreme human beings I've ever met in my entire life was Lindsey Graham. And I would say maybe the second most extreme I've ever met is Ted Cruz, both U.S. senators. Lindsey Graham unfortunately passed away recently. Ted Cruz still represents Texas. These are people who have called for murdering innocents at scale, bombing people who did nothing wrong, killing kids, and have done that for like decades, who have openly called for the U.S. government and American citizens to be more loyal to a foreign country than to their own, who have called for banning Americans' right to criticize a foreign country, eliminating free speech on behalf of a foreign nation. You can criticize your own country, totally fine. You're not allowed to criticize a foreign country. That's so crazy that I can hardly believe it's happening, and nobody says it. So you'll go and you'll interview Lindsey Graham, or I interviewed Ted Cruz last year, and people are like, oh, no one is like, I can't believe you're sitting with that wacko extremist Ted Cruz, who's literally called for murdering people. And by the way, has helped murder people. He's a United States senator. He's not a podcaster. He votes for things. He appropriates money. That guy has blood on his hands, the blood of countless innocents, but it's totally cool to sit with him. How does that work? I don't understand. Not one person has ever said, I can't believe you sat across from Ted Cruz. He's a murderer, which is true. But because we're so
you're calling the Senate. You're calling a senator.
So brainwashed.
Wait, hold on, Tucker. These are political officials you have known, just like you've known Trump.
And Tucker going hard in the paint, man. He don't care what it is, what it's about. He's gonna give his honest and unbiased opinion, and not even saying opinion, because this man's so wrapped around so much in the Congress, everywhere. You know what I'm saying? Like, he know the truth, and it's just, damn, man. He tearing it up, bro. He tearing it up.
I know. Look, Jews, bro. Dropping Jews.
You've known a lot of guys on Capitol Hill. You've interviewed a lot of them. You've talked to a lot of them. You used to be on Fox News with your top-rated show at 8 p.m. after you succeeded Bill O'Reilly. You used to talk to these folks all the time. And now here you are on this show. You're calling them a murder. You're calling a guy like Senator Ted Cruz a murderer.
Well, it's true. Ted Cruz is calling for the killing of innocents and funding it. And so what I'm actually calling for is not calling out poor Ted Cruz, who's suffering, is already living in hell. And I'm not even mad at Ted Cruz. I want to awaken people to a real moral framework. So you have people who say ugly things, and great, that happens everywhere. I'm against saying ugly things. I try not to. I try not to do that. But
you just did. That's a very ugly thing to say, Tucker. I mean, to call a senator, it's an ugly thing to say, Tucker.
First of all, I don't. Because he is a senator, it actually matters. It's not ugly, it's a fact. Ted Cruz has called for killing innocents. He's done it to me many, many, many times. We'll just bomb them. Just bomb the whole city. Just blow them up. What? There are people, thousands, millions of people who live there who did nothing wrong. They have no role in this. They have no role in a nuclear program. They're just going to work. They're little kids. That's crazy. That is extremist behavior. And he has the power to make it happen. He's a U.S. senator. So, by the way, we should get back in the media into the habit of criticizing the powerful. And I know everyone's upset about some 27-year-old gay kid, Nick Fuentes. Ooh, he says naughty things. Yeah, I agree, whatever. But who cares? What we should care about is when powerful people misuse their power to hurt the innocent. And Ted Cruz is doing that. And so are a lot of other senators. So I'm just waiting for someone to call me and be like, I can't believe you platformed Ted Cruz. I can't believe. How do you live with this? Do you sleep at night? I mean, did you shake his hand? The hand of someone who called for the murder of innocents? I can't believe you can live with yourself. I'm waiting for that moment. It'll never come because everyone's so freaking brainwashed that they think that whatever that little gay kid is the threat.
I've seen you talking to Megyn Kelly. I've heard Candace Owens' position, and she talked about fearing for her life. Where are you right now? I'm talking about psychologically. Do you find yourself sitting back concerned for your well-being, considering the positions that you've taken and the, dare I say, enemies you may have provoked?
Well, I mean, where am I right now? I'm in a bunker, hundreds of feet.
I don't mean where. I'm not asking where because I don't want you to tell your location. I don't want you to tell your location. I'm just talking psychologically. I'm saying, where are you right now? Candace Owens has been on the record talking about she thinks they may try to take her out. Who knows what others like Megyn Kelly are thinking? What is your thinking? Where are you right now? In light of the things that you said, the conversations and the dialogues you've provoked, and how you've incited enemies against you.
Well, from my perspective, I told the truth, and some people didn't like it because it was inconvenient to them. But I would say all of us, if you live to a certain age, and you have, I think we're like the same age, you see people you love die, and people who were totally fine one day and they're gone the next. And it's incredibly sad. It's the saddest thing, but it's also a reminder that we're not in charge of our lives. We're not in control. And you think you have forever, you don't. You have a certain time, you can't control that. And so every day, sounds like a bumper sticker, but it's real. Every day really is a gift. We don't treat it that way. It's just like, oh, it's another day. No, it's a gift. And we don't know how many days we have left. Not one of us does. It doesn't matter how old or young you are. Not one of us knows how many we have left. And so I've just lived long enough to really believe that because I've seen it. I mean, Charlie Kirk was sitting at the table I'm sitting at now, not long before he was killed. And then he's gone. Never thought that would happen. I still feel so sad about it, as I do for all the people I've lost over the years. I'm sure you feel the same way. So the idea that I'm under threat. Well, we're all under threat all the time because we don't know what the future is. So just stop worrying about that. You can't control it. I really believe this. Stop worrying all the time about stuff you can't control. And instead focus as intently as you can on loving the people around you, telling the truth, trying to do the right thing, knowing you're going to make a ton of mistakes doing it. That's the business of life, I think.
Tucker, the word love comes associated with hope in the eyes of a lot of people. And you've used that word a lot in this conversation that you and I have just had. I'm wondering, when we think about hope, is there a light at the end of the tunnel? Is there some hope? When I look at the Democratic Party, I look at Governor Josh Shapiro out of Pennsylvania. I look at Governor Wes Moore out of Maryland. I see Governor Gavin Newsom out of California trying to gain traction. We've heard about Beshear out of Kentucky. We know Rubio and Vance are in the mix with the GOP. We've seen Governor DeSantis and his leadership in Florida, even though I might have a couple of issues with him. Where are you in terms of candidates that exist on either side of the aisle? Is there a ray of hope anywhere that you see it based on what you've observed over the last 18 months or so?
Boy, I mean, it's just waltz of the pygmies. As you were reading those names, I know a lot of those guys. I just had this image in my mind of the Wizard of Oz and all the dwarves, like we represent the Lollipop Guild. Like it's such a collection of mediocrities. I'm sure they're not all bad people. I'm guessing, but I'm sure they're not, but none of those people is going to save this country or make your life better. I mean, honestly, let's be real. I'm not sure that there are political solutions right now. We could have better politics, people who care about us. But the truth is our problems are really significant, but it doesn't mean that our lives have to be barren or bleak, because really your life is not about who's in office. This is what I've learned recently. I've thought a lot about this recently because I was so disappointed in Trump. And I'm like, oh my gosh, what do we do? And it's like, I don't know, love your wife more, be kinder to the people who work for you, give 100% tip at dinner. I mean, I don't know. Like, you don't have to wait for some savior to come and make everything perfect. Cause like Josh Shapiro or DeSantis, I mean, come on, these guys, I'm not saying they're evil or anything. I'm sure they're fine, but like, they have no freaking idea what they're doing. They have no power. The president doesn't have as much power as we thought. That's another thing I learned. He can't fix all these problems. He doesn't have, he can't even decide.
Yeah, wait, let that part right there run.
Why the hell do you want me? Then why the hell do you want somebody else to run for office? I mean, what hope would we have based on what
you
you're
would
saying?
have no hope, but how hilarious would that be? Stephen A. Ladies and gentlemen, go Stephen A. Smith, and you'd be like, you know, I think it'd be funny.
I couldn't get anything done. I'd lose my damn mind dealing with them on Capitol Hill. I couldn't get anything done.
But we don't have to wait for that. I guess that's the point. I mean, I've really had to brood on this recently because I convinced myself that Trump was really going to make a huge difference. And by the way, it didn't have to be this bad. Obviously, it was his fault. But he was never going to fix all the problems because that's kind of not how it works. Like the president doesn't have the power to do that. I don't have to wait for the perfect guy or even a great guy to get elected to make my own life better, to make the lives of people around me better. And I shouldn't wait. And I shouldn't also think that my happiness, is dependent on who's in the White House. Like, it's just not true. It's like part of the op, actually. You know, you can create beautiful things in a beautiful life and love other people, no matter who is. I mean, there are happy people in North Korea. I'm sorry. I've been there. It's true.
Very last question. Is that something you've always known, or is it something you've learned since you departed from Fox News, since you built your own company, since you're doing what you're doing now?
I mean, I've learned it. I mean, if you'd asked me 30 years ago, do I think any man can save humanity? No. I mean, I've never really believed it, but I've sort of talked myself into it. Look, you spend enough time around politics, you've had this experience, and you're like, it's so important that so-and-so win, or more commonly, it's so important that person lose. Like Kamala Harris is going to destroy everything. And like, I wouldn't vote for Kamala Harris. It's kind of a joke, but that's not really true. She's not going to like destroy the love between me and my wife. You know what I mean? Like, there are some things that just politics doesn't touch and will never touch. And those things, like what happens after you die? I don't think Donald Trump is in charge of that. And so the tragedy of this war and the sadness and the betrayal and the shock that I felt being close to it and close to Trump was an occasion for me to think through some of these things and like be honest with myself. Like, I think I was putting a little bit too much on Trump. Did I really think that electing Trump over Kamala was going to make all the difference forever? Like, if I thought that, I'm an idiot. I mean, it'd probably be better, I guess, but it's not. If I think that's like salvation, that's on me.
Tucker Carlson, appreciate the time, man. Gave me a lot of time. Thank you so much. I owe you an interview.
Dude, I'm going to see you on the...
Yeah. Tucker Carlson, man, drop jewels on them. Man, hell of a show, bro.
Definitely, bro.
Hell of,
Definitely a great show.
but yeah, man, we rock. We rocking, man. Like I'm about to begin up. Please subscribe to the channel, man. You know what I'm saying? Please like subscribe to the channel, man. Share the live out. Me and my bro Jay, man, we're gonna keep it coming for y'all, man. I promise y'all, we're gonna keep it coming, man. We're gonna keep it coming. I love y'all, man. I love everybody that tuned in to the show, man. I appreciate y'all for coming and everything, man. Jay, you wanna hit him with something?
Peace, love, and happiness. Y'all enjoy y'all rest of y'all Sunday evening. Like again, my brother said, please like, share, subscribe. Get us out there in the algorithm. We gonna bring y'all the news that you can use.
Let's get it. Yo.